send it.
Flippin' send it.
It's recording.
It's recording.
Oh, it's
recording. Recording. How do I... Oh, wait, copy text. Okay. How's everybody doing? Hi. You'll probably get this video later today.
Yeah.
Because we're recording on Sunday.
We're recording Sunday morning. Oh, it's afternoon, technically.
Did you like the blue bar picture that I sent you?
Blue bar? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. Who was it? Callisto sent that to me, and I'm like, I'm fucking dead. This was
Blue
good.
bar?
But I can't say that. I have a lift. And it'd be like that.
Blue bar.
Blue bar. So, I recently was fucking around with the chat bot, or the AI generator bot thing, and I did ask it to write a script for us. I write down what I asked? I said I asked an AI bot to write an episode of the Hell Yeah podcast from YouTube, but Eric and Odie have stand abilities. Was like the goal.
Right.
Also, every time that I brought it up, it was like, no. Me, whatever Odie is like I just have like mind ability.
Uh-huh.
Like it refused to ever come up with something different. It was like,
okay.
no. This is what Eric has.
Right.
This is what Odie has, and it will never change. And no matter how many questions you ask and refresh the cache, we don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's dumb.
Yeah.
It's probably based on like the name.
Yeah.
So like
it's got limits.
yeah. So I sent it to you if you'd like
Is
to.
it in script format?
Yeah, it is in script format.
Okay.
And what I really liked about it is that you could tell from the way that it's written that, like, at least for the first half, it's kind of like us doing a bit.
Okay.
So the Hell Yeah podcast theme music plays as the host Eric and Odie sit at the desks.
Our world famous
Microphones.
theme music.
One day, scuba beep bop, where they
What?
at? It's the Hell Yeah podcast. Yeah, it does open with you, which is not how they normally.
Microphones in hand.
Okay,
Welcome to the Hell Yeah podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
and I'm Odie.
So, Odie, what's on the agenda for today's episode?
This is where like I was losing it because it's real good. Well, today we're gonna talk about something a little different.
Oh.
Oh.
Do tell.
So as you may or may not know, we've both been recently been granted stand abilities.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. I've been able to manipulate time with my stand, Time Stopper. I mean, it sounds fun.
Oh man. And I have my stand, Mind Melder, which allows me to read people's thoughts and memories.
That's right. So we thought it would be interesting to talk about how these abilities have affected our daily lives and how they've changed the way we interact with people.
Now that I can read minds and you can stop time.
Point, counterpoint.
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. I've been able to gain a lot of insight into people's thoughts and feelings, but it's also made me question the concept of privacy.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. But on the other hand, my ability to control time has made me much more productive. I can now accomplish so much more in a shorter amount of time.
Will you? We'd use it to relax, and that's the tea. That's true. It's also been fun experimenting with different ways to use our abilities. Like, I've been able to use Mind Melder to help people remember important information for tests and exams.
Other people you. And I've been able to use Time Stopper to help people out in emergency situations.
What, like, hey, I can call 911 real quick. Ooh. You know what I can do? I can stop time and get out of here real quick so
And
I don't
make
look like
it
I was
someone
here.
else's problem.
I shouldn't have done that. Oh my god, it's been a wild ride, but we're excited to see where these abilities take us.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And speaking of wild rides, we have a special guest joining us today.
That's right. We have Jotaro Kujo from the JoJo Bizarre Adventure series.
Third camera activates. He's right here.
I do have him actually.
But does he have his script?
Yeah, I'll have him. We got little Jupe.
He's here to talk about his stand, Star Platinum, and how it's affected his life. Jotaro, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your stand, Star Platinum?
Sure, Star Platinum is a stand with incredible strength and precision. It allows me to move at incredible speeds and punch with incredible force. That sounds like quite the ability. How has it affected your daily life? It's definitely made me a lot stronger and more confident, and it's also been handy in battle, of course, but it's come with its fair share of challenges.
Well, can you give us an example?
Sure, there have been times where I've accidentally hurt someone because of Star Platinum's strength, and it's made me question the responsibility that comes with having such a powerful ability. Yeah, that's definitely something to consider.
So, Jotaro, how have you and your stand grown together over time?
As we spent more time together, Star Platinum and I have become more in sync. We've learned to work together as a team and trust each other in battle. It's also helped me understand the true power and potential of my stand. Which, that is not how Jotaro's stand works.
I was going to say, I don't think.
Like, it's
What
just
little
an
I know,
extension
I
of your
don't
will.
think that's how that works.
Like, the only... Kenzo and Dragon's Dream, them and their stand, like, Kenzo being the user, the guy who bathes in piss, and was trying to fight them in the prison, and, like, did the feng shui shit I'd mentioned, like, months ago. That's the only one where, like, the stand actively, like, I'm still gonna do what you do, and he's like, old man, you don't play fair, you need to tell them the rules of your stand. Like, you're an asshole. Like, he's just talking shit and trying to help them. He goes, hey, you should be very careful. This is your unlucky direction. Protected at all costs. Like, you're about to get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was very, very sweet. So, and then we did have this little meme I just wanted to show you. Kale made of the Hype Hogs getting ready for the new episode. Down in the pig pen below.
In the pig pen below.
So, hello.
Hello.
Welcome
To the
Hell Yeah podcast. We need to like pay like $10,000 to have a really sick stinger transition where it goes Hell Yeah podcast. It's like because it's like steel and iron and men.
Oh, and like welds around the letters.
Yeah.
And
Hell
then
Yeah
stamps
podcast.
them.
But then like we're still there behind it because it's just like an overlay.
And we're still talking, but you can't hear us over the mechanical
And
noises.
it blows it out. It's all reds.
Hell yeah.
A podcast. Yeah. And it is recording our audio, right? I know we didn't. Did we just scroll to check? It should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, it's that thing of like, I'd rather only lose 7.5 minutes of bits.
Nah, just keep going. We'll just post one with no audio. We've never done that before.
We shouldn't have. It was lost for a reason. So, how have you been, friendo?
I'm alive.
Okay.
How have you been?
Alive. Yeah.
Cool.
Surprisingly,
Oh.
honestly.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I meant to like stop and like I should write down some like cool things that have happened this week. Collaborate.
Two kinds of people.
Yeah.
I hate that song.
I'm trying to think like what's been new that I've done lately. Not too much. I want to know your thoughts on Callisto Protocol again.
Don't make me talk about it.
Don't make me do it.
I'm not playing it anymore.
You're just full. You're full done.
Yeah, and
As
I'll
you
tell
should
you
be.
why.
You tell me why.
They took him from me.
Isaac.
Elias.
Who's Elias?
Who's Elias?
Uh-huh.
They took him from me.
Was that what you named like the gun?
No.
Oh.
He was 5'11", 190 pounds.
Oh, was he someone who was with you for a good part of the game and he was cute?
And they took him from me. He was more than just cute. We were together.
Oh, in the game?
No.
No. Oh. Yeah, okay.
And they took him from me. We were going to have ramen. All I wanted to do was get us out of that prison and buy us some prison ramen for us to have outside of the prison. But we were going to get out. Him and me.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Elias. We were getting out of there.
You guys had gun. You had...
Yeah.
What was the other ability? You had dodge,
Baton. Grip.
the grip.
I gripped him.
It was wired, right?
Oh, yeah. The rest of the game, tired. Grip, wired.
God, I'm fucking dead. I've been thinking about that.
Elias was wired, and they took him from me. And that behavior is tired.
Here's my thing, is that if you're going to take away romantic love interest, right?
Yeah.
You at least got to let us get a little something. And I'm not saying that you need to like put out at all, but like
Right.
let me embrace them. Like make
We
it
got-
so that when you take them away, it hurts so much more.
Oh, it hurt. They took him from me. He was all I had.
How did he die?
That's the worst part. It's not even clear.
Oh,
He was just sort of like sucked out into the, he was sucked out into like out in the
Space?
out and about on Europa. So not in space, but like, you know, out in the, you know, the bad.
And did he have his helmet on?
He did have his helmet on, but I think like they're trying to show like his helmet broke. And presumably that he had also sustained internal injuries, perhaps. Because like the weird like daddy prison captain showrunner guy who kept like gently stroking my face and then throwing me,
Like a tsundere, yeah.
like you do.
First you give him the sun, then you give him the dairy.
He like all of a sudden, like, spoiler alert, I guess. He
For a
like
game that sucks butt.
yeah. Okay, here's the hold on, we'll get there. Anyway, so he like he all of a sudden comes back and like blows us out the airlock. And like we both get like sucked out into like the atmosphere of Europa, and like we have helmets and we'd gotten them on, but like they weren't like, mine wasn't activated yet, and like Elias's was, but then like apparently he somehow got sucked like way farther than I did,
Because his helmet was working.
I guess, and then like smashed down, and I think his helmet broke, and they're trying to like, I don't know if they're trying to say that like he suffocated or that he got like instant frostbite.
But he dead.
He died, but he died in my arms. So like I got like dragged out too, and then like it's like find Elias, and so like somehow he got dragged so far, so it takes forever to get to him, and then you finally get to him, and then it switches to a cutscene, and like you're holding him and everything. You're
Oh,
like,
so you know he's dead.
you know he's dying.
Oh, okay.
But like yeah, you knew that like I was, as soon as like stuff started to I was like, they're gonna kill him, and I'm not gonna play anymore. And so like
The true final nail in the coffin.
yeah, and so then like you're like holding him or whatever, and you're trying to like get him into cover, and then he's like, no, like I'm not gonna make it. And then so you just kind of like lay him down, and then he's like, you know, like, don't worry, like I got out. And it's like all he'd ever wanted. And also right before then, they finally gave him some like serious characterization where it's like you finally find out like why he was in the prison. It's because he killed someone. And then your character is like trying to be like sympathetic, and you're like, you're probably like, you know, like well, I'm sure like, you know, you got dealt like a shitty hand or whatever. And he's like, no, I did it. And like being here that long, like that made me realize like, no, I have to own up to like, I had a hand in that. I did it. Like I killed a person.
Like, did he murder them? Like it wasn't like a self-defense thing, or
It's not explained. And then you get sucked out at the airlock, and he dies. And I'm like, why are you even gonna pretend to like pay lip service to like caring about like characterization?
Because
for
now
this
it
character?
hurts so much. It's like, no, see, what you do is you have him die like in the like just before the penultimate act, penultimate act,
right? Or just maybe don't kill him. That'd be a fun new twist on an old favorite.
or at least
That'd be
like
cool.
have him be like ready to throw it back.
Yeah, so then he dies, and then of course the second he dies, because like the game, you know, at least to a degree, you need to be like talking to someone to be like guiding you. As soon as he dies, literally like while you're like holding his dead body, like the annoying lady from before, who's the reason why all of this went wrong, shows up. And then,
outside.
Yeah, and then cuts the thing out of the back of his neck to get like all of his like information, and then is just like holding you at gunpoint and is like, figure it out yourself, I'm going. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not actually gonna have to figure it out myself, because like
I'm gonna go follow you,
because this game is built around I'm now gonna have an adversarial person on the comms instead of one who liked me. And I was just like, this is so tired.
No wired.
This is fucking tired.
Dude, was it full sleeper?
It really was. What was wild though was like, so like the first time I was playing the game, I was like, this dodge mechanic is shit. The book report was shit. The way she sold it on the stage was shit. She's shit. Like it was not.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. The second time we were playing, I was caffeinated.
Wired.
I'd had 2 packs of beans.
Oh wait, you played a second time?
Yeah.
Was this yesterday or on
Yeah.
Friday? Okay, because I saw that you were. I don't know how I knew you were online, but I knew you were online.
Because snitches are talking.
No, I think it was. Steam actually.
Snitches.
Yeah, it is snitch. It's big snitch energy.
So yeah, I played it a second time, and that time I was on 2 packs of expired beans.
I gotta eat my expired beans.
Had my caffeine, and everything was suddenly clicking. And I was like, I get it. I get the system.
You figured out the dodge mechanic.
And playing it long enough, like by forcing myself to play this game, like the post on like the stream that I did, I literally was like, I'm gonna hate this game until I love it. So like by forcing myself to play it long enough, I think I finally realized like why in testing and stuff no one realized this was a horrible game was because like if you do it long enough, you get the system and you get the rhythm and you're like, oh, okay, there's actually like more depth to it and like it works and now like it feels okay. Still not great, but it feels a lot better if you just suffer long enough. And I'm like, the people who made this game have been suffering with it for however many years the development cycle was, and so they couldn't put themselves in the headspace of someone coming to this fresh, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that was the failure in this game, in the combat mechanics. Because once I suffered long enough, I was like, okay, I don't know if I could go so far as to say this is fun, but it's satisfying. And that's something.
Like at the very least, the hardest boss so far, the controller, has finally like been vanquished in that regard.
And they added a lot more enemy variety, the way that you're presented with
because I know you'd only played like the first few parts, right? Like you played like half the game almost.
I'd played 2 acts. I think there's 6 when I ended the first stream. So like there's actually like new enemy types, new dynamics, like different ways to do things. And so it was like, okay, this is actually finally starting to feel like a game. Still don't love it, but like, okay. And so then it was just so upsetting when I was like, this game finally feels like, okay, I punched my clock, I did my dues, and like, I'm actually interested now. And then they took him from me. And I was like, no, I'm not playing anymore.
Like, you're just done.
I was like, guys, we're calling the stream, and I'm not going to play this game anymore because I don't want to play the rest of it.
Like, you guys don't understand that you were already on the thinnest of ice.
It really was.
And like, this is not like you're not happy to even having to be played the second time, but you were willing and you gave it its fair shake, as you should. Like, which is more than you had to be honest.
Yeah, I just wanted to try it a little bit more. And then like,
because maybe it was just you stopped playing too early and like,
yeah. And like the story was interesting enough that I was like, I don't want to just look it up. Like I do kind of want to experience it. I'm like, I'm going to try it again. And then I was actually having a good time. So I was like, shit, okay, maybe I don't hate this game. And then they pulled that shit and everything. And like, I don't know, like it's personal taste, personal preference thing. But like, I don't like the whole, like, I don't want to play a game where like the whole, like, it's just this like, the only other main character in the game like doesn't trust me and is like accusing me of shit that like from a lore perspective I'm like, yeah, I probably did it because that'll be like a big reveal. Yeah, is that like I don't know that I actually am the problem. And like that felt tired.
You know, isn't it so exhausting always rooting for the anti-hero?
It just, I was like, this is, I'm like, and I'm tired of like fake adversarial, like, you know, like, cause it's like, oh, I wonder if they'll end up liking each other at the end. Like, it was just like, the only word I have for it is tired, because it is.
It's that unfortunate truth of like being able to consume so much media so digestibly, like seeing stories and patterns, in particular, like after I DM'd a lot for Adventurers League, like all those low level adventures, I got pretty good at figuring out movies. Like, yeah, I tend to solve them, which for me at least most of the time, like it's okay that I already figured it out. Like people are like, you can't figure it out too quickly, and it's like, no, but like also having your like I can understand like you as a creator, like starting to make a mystery in your audios, like someone getting it right away is a little like, fuck, like, but it's also like, no, that was someone who like just happened to see that golden thread and like you wanted to reward them,
which means like that is a thing, is that like I don't mean to like completely shit on the game's story from that perspective. I'm just tired of that kind of storyline. Like, listen, like tropes exist for a reason. Like I put them in my stuff too, and the idea that like everything has to have some like 11th hour like yank the rug out from under you, like,
I mean, it's a classic storytelling wheel thing though.
Yeah, that also can get like a little overused, and I think some people don't like put much value on the fact that if you're telling a mystery or of something, you know, like whatever it is, like not necessarily like actual mystery, but like in this game, even though it's like a horror game, like there are questions that you might have about like, okay, like, am I involved? Did I do it or whatever? Like if someone guesses it, that means you like are giving good evidence. You're giving, you know, the right foreshadowing and stuff. It's like you don't want everyone to know off the bat, because then it's like, well, then why are we just sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting for the end? Because I know what's going to happen. But like if some people figure it out, then that means that like you did a good job.
You didn't make it too hard.
Right. You did a good job of telegraphing the story, because like in real life, we often know what's going to happen as a result of some actions.
Oh, yeah. Well, like anytime, like my favorite thing is Chekhov's gun, and I will look for those in every media where I'm like, oh, something's coming. I'm like, did you guys see that? That was the gun. And they're like, that's not a gun. And I'm like, you don't know yet.
You don't know.
You can't. And Chekhov's gun, I believe, is, I forget the book that it's from, but it's essentially, if you have in the first act, like a shotgun is mentioned that it's in the room, by the end of it, it has to have gone off. Is the idea behind that like you got to have a payoff somewhere. Like which is why anytime you see it a lot, like in TV shows and stuff, where they'll have like a shot that's just on an item, and it's like, I wonder what that means. Yeah. And it's like, well, we'll have more meaning later, dumbass.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was watching, but they talked about that on like, because like I don't really watch like stage play stuff or anything, but someone was talking about like
Waiting in the Wings.
It wasn't that actually, but someone was talking about like in comparison to like when they look at like the ways that like TV or movies or whatever like frames a shot and stuff, they came from a theater, that this person, this reviewer, commenter, whatever, they come from like a theater background. And so like on the theater, like, and on a lot of theater stages, you know, they're often limited in like what you can have to like set the scene in terms of like actual props and everything. So it's important that everything that is in there means something, because like since there is like not much there, everything kind of stands out. And so it's like, if you have, I think the way they described it was like, if you have a scene where like you have a character like standing the whole time and there's just like a chair, and then they never interact with the chair at all, that feels weird, because the whole time you're like, wait, like there's a part of you that's waiting for them to sit. Yeah. Like that kind of a thing. And so it's
although
like,
you could be really funny when they go to sit on it, it falls.
Right. Like you expect something to happen with it, because it's part of this.
Why are they not addressing it?
Right. Why is it like in the framing, but we're just not considering
like
it?
You're taking time to make sure it's in the shot.
Yeah. So like, why is it there? And I can't.
You either had to have stood up or you sat down.
Yeah, because it's when you have something like that, it you set that expectation that you're going to get a payoff, even if it's something as minor as the person sits in the chair.
You could throw it.
Yeah.
You kick it over.
Yeah, something. You're expecting something.
You get someone else plop down in it.
The chair becomes a person.
A person becomes a chair.
Person and chair is chair
and person. Take a seat.
Are you a king? Because you're making my face feel like a throne.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be. I'm my king shit. I'm just a royalties. It's so tough just being a whore.
Tired.
Madonna had it right. I have nowhere to go with that. I'm glad you didn't challenge me on it, because I would have said, do you know what that means? And I'd go, no. But I heard it somewhere. I heard it in a Lady Gaga song, so I said it.
I
heard it.
Yeah, but Callisto Protocol in general, it's not a great game.
Tired. Yeah.
It's not a great game, and I'm not going to play it anymore. Because, like, in all honesty, like, the Elias character relationship, there's not much in the game. Like, you clearly become like friends and everything of a sort.
You very much so were making your own fun.
Exactly. You have to.
Like
you have to find the fun. And so like in the stream, Elias became the fun. And so that was like the whole bit of like when we go back in this like to do the second stream, like people immediately are commenting like, why are you coming back to this? You hated this. You rage quit this. What are you doing? And I'm like, we have to get him out.
We gotta get Elias out.
We have to get Elias out.
Now, if at the end of the game you get him out and then he dies like that, would that have been like, oh fuck? But at least it's over now,
right?
And like, at least we were able to do that for him. Like, you could have had that be super impactful, but then doing it early, you're like, I don't like this bitch.
Yeah, and also he didn't really like get out. Like, I get it for the sake of like
he went outside,
the character, like, you know, delivering on like his one like characterization point that they gave him, which was he wants out of the prison. Like, yeah, he left the grounds of the prison.
He got time in the yard, and now we're celebrating.
And was sucked out into the snow of Europa and died of mysterious circumstances. And it was just like,
in a few years, you know, the Braves will be touching down.
It felt like they, you know, it very much felt like they like fridged him for my character development, and I was like, I didn't need that. We already did that with the co-pilot at the beginning. You didn't need to like teach this old man the lesson again. Tired.
Not wired.
Not a great game. Would not recommend it.
Honestly,
but also
that game deserves to be fired.
But also like, I think the creators had good ideas, and so like I don't want it to flop like so poorly that like they don't get to continue to like try to make more stuff, because like I love that kind of like horror realm.
Well, because then it looked good, right?
It looked gorgeous. There were a lot of things that were good about the game, and so like I want them to have a chance to like fix the problems and make a better game. So like,
it's hey, this game kind of sucks, but I don't think like you guys suck.
Yeah, I don't think you're bad game creators. I think this was kind of like their, and I don't know, maybe it wasn't their first showing, because obviously they'd been part of other games, but I think this was their first one where they had full creative control, and so I think maybe like they kind of lost themselves in that a little bit, and so like they kind of like lost sight of like it from like a player perspective, and we're just looking at it from a creator perspective. And so like the creator side of things looks gorgeous, the story is like compelling enough, like it's good. It's like, a little expected, but like it's well written enough,
and
like,
for all the shit you're talking to, it's like not as bad as, you know, kind of hamming it up, but also like, you know,
the gameplay, like the combat,
the first hour of the game
is genuinely not fun. It reaches a point where it can feel satisfying when you get it down, but it's still not fun. I mean, you get that dopamine thrill when I like suddenly got like jumped in like a room and I killed like 3 people and lost almost no health and just like tanked the whole thing and was like just tore it up. That felt amazing, but it also felt like it took so much work to get there that it wasn't worth it. The payoff to the input was not it.
That should have happened an hour ago.
Right. And I'm sure that from someone who's been testing this game since it was, you know,
in alpha,
white polygons on a black background, they had already done that work. So like these combat mechanics, like every fight felt satisfying to them. So like I can get where they like lost the forest for the trees, but I hope they have a chance to improve on it.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it has a season pass, which like I don't think they can fix this game.
Yeah. Like their frame, like it's in the framework.
Yeah, I think the problems are cooked in at this point, and I don't think they could fix it because it's clearly designed around this combat style. For better or for worse, and it's for worse.
Yeah.
So I just hope that they get a chance to make a sequel or something.
That'd be nice.
Josh said that like the Prologue podcast was like an audio drama thing. He said it was really good, which is cool. Like I hope they get a chance to do more in this world because it was compelling enough. It was interesting.
Okay. It
wasn't lifted completely from Dead Space. I mean, like it had lots of Dead Space in it, but there was nuance there. It was cool.
Seems kind of similar to the problems that I felt like were in I think it's The Outer Worlds, which was supposed to be like the new, it was it's like Fallout but in space and whatnot, and like it was the one
watching you play it a little bit
because I got it on Game Pass on a trial, and then like
I walked in the room and I was like, are you playing Prey? And then I was like, oh no. Yeah, just because the UI at just a glance, because
it was a bit similar. Yeah, spacey.
Because it's the same people who made it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like it was fun, but like I also like because I ended up that summer playing like all of the Fallout games. Like I played Fallout New Vegas that year, and I remember like I'm like, why does like Fallout New Vegas hold up so well, but these newer ones don't? And I'm like, I think it's because like part of it is like the graphics, like Fallout New Vegas, for example, like it looks like an older game.
Right.
But like, so you can kind of like go into that knowing.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes have a really hard time playing old games, and a lot of it is down to, okay, can I play it well? Birth by Sleep being a good example of a game that I really wanted to play, but like I just don't like playing it. And part of that's like I've played Kingdom Hearts 3 twice, so like it's hard playing the newest stuff and then going back.
That was me with BioShock. Love BioShock Infinite. I played those in the wrong order because I tried to play BioShock 1. I was like, I can't do this.
It feels too archaic. Maybe, I mean, a lot of time has passed that maybe you could give it another shot.
Maybe I could. Because the problem, it ran into the problem of like, it didn't just feel like an older game. Because like, I play original Halo and stuff. And like, that's, you know, that's old.
But you did play that as a kid.
Right. And I played BioShock 1 right after Infinite. And it had too many similarities that it reminded me of everything I didn't have anymore.
You didn't get to see BioShock Infinite be like this, oh man, like cream of the cake of, or like, you know, like the culmination of like these games of like some of the best stuff, some of the worst stuff. It's like, oh no, I just feel super fucking limited.
Yeah. Like if I played like BioShock Infinite and then original Halo, they're very different games. So like it wouldn't like feel like, where's my vigors, you know, like where's like, you know, whatever. Like I wouldn't feel like I was missing something. It would just be like, oh, this is just a different genre. But it was so close that it was like, I feel the loss of all the new features that came over, you know, 8 years or however long it took them to get from 1 to 3. But
it's a lot. I've been like having like the smallest itch to play the BioShock series again. Been watching on YouTube every once in a while. I'll watch, I forget what the channel's called, but it's like a like there's one guy who's like, I'm gonna do like the hardest thing, I'm gonna get all these achievements, but I don't like him because he's kind of a tool, like
a tool assisted.
He looks like a YouTuber that makes achievement hunting content, which is a very weird way to describe that, but I think you pick up what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a guy who makes videos about just like getting achievements on old games.
Right.
He's a guy who is finished, like he's a YouTuber. So the other guy that I've watched, his content's great because he goes back and is like, all right, so I had already gotten these other achievements. So of the ones that are missing, here we go. Like on his 360 and shit. And he goes, and they're fucking hell. They're terrible. Some of them you can't get because it's online and you can't get the online
servers
ones.
Servers are gone.
Yeah, so it's like
servers are down.
Servers are down. And but like his content is like so much fun. Like I was watching his BioShock ones because he's like, yeah, like so you have to do these certain things. He goes, and they're kind of a pain in the ass. And this is what I decided, like the order that I was going to do to try to do these in the least amount of playthroughs I could. Is like, you're going to want to do this. He goes, now granted, some of this it's just going to be hard. Also, for whatever reason, as my phone was like, I got a phone call just then. I'm like, did you call me?
Can you imagine if I literally called and then just set the phone down? I'm like,
you going to answer that?
You going to answer? Are you getting a call?
Oh, maybe. Me? A call?
I'm getting a call from Chief. He's letting me know this ain't it.
This is it, actually.
This is it.
So, you know, it could be like that. But yeah, it's like, so like, but that content's been really fun. I'll try to Google it and find the video because like, it's good.
Background.
Yes. Like that's like, I love that kind of shit.
Yeah. I've been having Wolfie's, Wolf Glick VGC
content.
His like,
he's cute.
Yeah. But I mean, just his like sound in the background. Cause it's like, I haven't played any of the new Pokemon, Scarlet and Violet, and I probably won't, or at least not for quite a while.
If I had the physical, I'd let you borrow it because then you'd probably play it because like I'm handing it to you.
Yeah, but it looks good enough, but like it's just not really on my radar right now. But I'll just throw on in the background him ranking competitively every single new Pokemon, just every Pokemon period, because I'm like, sure,
why not? Yeah,
I understand every other word that you're saying. Yeah, they nerfing Gengar with his hands and
really
stuff and Orthworm.
Yeah, Orthworm's good. Like
Earth Eater,
Dodongo.
Yes,
it's a big
that
one
with the little fish.
Oh yeah, it's a companion Tsurugi.
Yep.
Or whatever it is. I don't think it's Tsurugi. That's from JoJo Leon. It's like Tatsugiri. I think it is. It's the one that looks like sashimi or sushi. Yeah, it's very cute. But they're not, and they don't evolve into each other.
No, they're not together. But if you do it in doubles and do the thingy, they'll like do the thingy.
I wait. They do something.
I think.
Oh yeah, I know they're like in the lore related.
I think they like actually will like get on each other or something.
Oh, that's really cool.
Or doesn't it like get in his mouth?
I know that like the thing is that like Tatsugiri is supposed. It's like a mimicry Pokemon sort of thing, and so like it's kind of meant to like bring you in and go, what the fuck? It's a small little thing, and then the big dude comes and gets you.
Gotcha.
So it's the old bait and switch.
Yeah, and he'll, I watched the video where he's like, the best Terra type for every single Pokemon. I'm like, you let me know, Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
You let me know.
Almost always it's stab. I feel like a lot of the time, except for maybe ghost types.
A lot of them it's steel.
Really?
To get rid of you need to improve your resistances.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
It's basically like you're either trying to like
maximize your attack if you're a glass cannon.
Yeah, it's pretty like split down the middle, kind of you're trying to like boost your defenses or you're trying to bump your attack, and so then it's for most of the people where they're leaning into defensively, usually it's steel, but like depending on your typing, it's different. Like there was a couple where he suggested Terra Bug.
Oh,
who would have thought?
Well, he's so fucking smart. Like the competitive side of Pokemon's insane.
It's crazy. Just listening to him talk is wild.
The level of just knowledge where I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. I think about that when I watch videos like that where I'm like, he just has all this like on the top of his head and like he just knows so much about this. And I'm like, well, there's stuff though that I know that much about that's just not like, it's not
you may
Pokemon.
not be able to right now on the spot just start going off about something, but it's like, oh wait, you're piquing my interest in this thing again. Well, now I've gone down a bit of a rabbit hole again.
Right.
And like I've refreshed, like I do know a lot of shit.
Well, I'm like, clearly it's a hobby that he's passionate about, but it's also his job at this point. From like because like at least it seems to be that like like YouTube and talking about it and being knowledgeable about it and being good at it and like giving all this information, everything, like it's become like his career. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know shitloads about my job too. Like if you asked me to like I could talk your ear off talking you through all the ins and outs of all of our system stuff and everything. And so I'm like, yeah, I guess but it's just crazy from like that perspective, because I'm like, he just knows so much about Pokemon.
It's like this.
I don't know what you're talking about, man, but I love your little words. I love the way you're talking about him.
There is. It is one of the few things that, like, I shouldn't say few things. It's one of the things I love about Pokemon is that like there are different types of people who play Pokemon for different reasons. Like like I'm very much of like, no, I want one of everything, and then I also like want shinies, but like I don't give a shit too much about competitive stuff unless there's a reason for me to get something, or like because there's like, oh, a cool battle if you get to the top of the tower. So I'm like, what's the best fucking team for the tower?
How do I take out the tower?
For raids and stuff. But then there's people that are like real into that, and like there's people that are like, oh yeah, like I still haven't finished the Pokedex, and I'm like, you were given one task when we were children.
Gotta
catch them all. Gotta catch all.
Mall.
And as as a young man, little me went, okay, and now 30 years, and I'm still doing it because
you gotta be the very best.
They didn't tell me to stop.
Yeah.
And Ash didn't stop. We're just focusing on someone else right now.
Well, because he won world championship, right? Yeah.
It was a really good. It was a really cool fight. Like the whole little interact, like the last part of the fight, which is the part I saw on Twitter.
Did he use Punkachu? Yeah,
like not right now, but like if you're willing, if I can find it, it's like 5-10 minutes of it's really good because it's like he's got to do one last attack.
But how did his Pikachu learn Steel Tail?
Steel Tail? Yeah.
Isn't that the one that people like meme about?
Oh,
like,
I guess.
How did it learn that?
I guess I didn't know it couldn't learn it or whatever. I had no idea. Maybe.
I'm not the one to tell you he can't learn it, but people say that.
I'm not as up to date on all the memes as I have been.
I simply don't know.
Also, I will say Scarlet and Violet is fucking based in that like the character designs for everybody, as well as I know I've talked about it before, but like very, very like progressive in terms of like aesthetics, like a lot less like necessarily like gendered aesthetics. You have a lot more freedom in your customization to just appear. You do have to kind of choose at the beginning like male or female, because like that'll affect like the pronouns that are used when referred to you. So like even though you can then, but I don't know if you just choose to make yourself look more feminine, if you can still stay like if it'll switch to she her over he him. I don't know, but either way, it was really cool, and like a lot of different body types too, which I thought was nice and like much more fun and inclusive. Like the muscly hiker girls, those are cool. Just to name one.
Just off the top of my head.
If I had to, if you point a gun at me.
Joyce.
It's
It's not a real gun. It's for play on.
She's like tapping the gun.
What do you think I'm gonna do with this? What do you think I hear in my pocket?
What, you get to shoot somebody again on accident?
Accident. Pokemon Go forced me to battle.
Oh, really?
I didn't want to.
Is it for like a quest thing?
It was to get the rings.
Oh,
to get
okay.
rings on your character.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I need them.
So now yes, I understand.
So
now.
I battled 10 times in the Go Battle League.
It's just boring.
And it's so fucking boring because I had to get 7 supercharged
Attacks.
Yeah, super effective charged attacks. And I was just like, this is tired. I don't want
No, this is not wired.
this.
Someone's gonna get fired.
I'm like, I don't want to do this. I lead with Buzzwole
Oh, that's a cool one.
because no one expects someone to lead with Bug.
Yeah, honestly, that's like a solid strategy.
It's Bug fighting his like normal attack. I can't remember which one I did, but it's quick to get to a charge attack. His charge attack isn't too strong as a result, but
It's
like
typically the trade-off.
but they do
You burn shields.
but you'll burn shields because people don't like. Usually, you'll get the first one. They don't put it together that they're like, if I got it that fast, it's not going to be strong. So, yeah, it's a decent play to like open up with Bug fighting.
I tend to use like my core like you have your trio that you do for like the like most battles because like it's well rounded enough that they'll be recommended to you almost every time, which is my shiny Makuhita Hundo. I think he's a Shundo. I think he's just 3 stars. It's a 3-star shiny. He's not 100% though. Mr. Slap, and then I have a very strong Tyranitar and then a Magnezone. And the Magnezone, if I can, depending, Magnezone will get its like Volt Tackle super fucking fast and it can burn through shields, but every time you use Volt Tackle, your defense lowers. So it's like, I just want to get 2. I just want to get 2.
Magnezone should be Terra typed into flying,
Oh, I can't do that in this game.
but it should.
You right?
Immunity to ground.
Yeah, well, I think it has Levitate normally because it's floating in the sky.
All I know is that's what he said. He said Terra type into flying.
Okay.
It fixes the problems.
Well, then maybe it doesn't have Levitate. Interesting, because I guess some Pokemon only naturally have it, but I guess it could be affected by it.
I don't know. That one you're supposed to be Terra typing defensively rather than offensively. So you're not worrying so much about stab bonuses.
Yeah, because if you're electric, ice will hurt you, but like...
Which stab bonus, that's bonus.
Yeah, same type attack bonus. HMU me.
ATM machine.
Yeah.
T.
It's T.
Oh.
Ooh.
it's
yeah,
another
got it. A little bit of a bit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't bring up the questions in the background.
Oh, I know. We can still work on those. We can do those at the same time.
Yeah.
I also think I left the package, the one package that we were able to get. So we could take a little 2-minute.
Take a break. I also have to piss.
I too have to piss.
And now we know how to pause.
Oh, that's right.
Because we are the new edit.
Hey,
we are the boom boom
bitch.
edit.
This is the first. Hey, bitch. This is the end of the first part of the Hell Yeah podcast. Episode number. Insert episode name here. We'll be right back after a short message that you won't hear. And jump cut. Jump cut. Jump cut. Hopefully that jump cut came off correctly, which I think it did.
I think it did great.
It did great. And now I'm actually really excited because now I want to come up with just like absolute random bullshit. It doesn't have to be good for the thing I talked about, and we'll have to do that next week. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Podcast.
Podcast.
I did it this time.
Podcast. We had one package.
One package.
That's not true. There is other packages, but I didn't have the ability to like go check the packages, and we weren't going to be recording until like later this weekend anyway. So, unfortunately, this is what the government allowed me to receive today.
It's the hell yeah package.
Bitch. One package.
the only one that the feds will let us have.
They don't want you to have this.
They don't want you to have the rest.
A gift for you. It drives me insane whenever y'all are fighting for your lives trying to open something because you forgot to bring up a knife. So here's some cute, dedicated podcast room cutters, LMAO, from Glitter.
Oh,
Thank you. Oh, would you
to be
like...
clear, I'm never the one fighting for my life. I'm not the one getting teeth involved.
I appreciate that Glitter said us, even though it was clearly me.
The little baby ones for babies.
Oh,
I believe they're cat themed.
Oh,
I believe the little.
Oh, they're like little kitty
Oh,
paws.
it's cute.
Oh, those are so cute. I'm real bad about like, oh yeah, I gotta have that stuff near my desk, and then I like don't, and then I go, damn, I gotta go get my box cutter, not any of the tools that I have.
That's cool. Thank you. So
Actually,
much,
this is
Lisa.
like because the box cutters are nice for like.
Well, I'm like,
We tend to do that offline.
I am forever in need of a box cutter in the home, and I've got like 7 of them, and yet they're never where I need them to be when I need them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, good to have dedicated ones for the room, in the room.
Yeah, of course.
I don't have a sleeve.
Leon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, these are. I mean, and actually, just like I was like, how does it work? I'm like, that's just a blade.
Push it.
First I pet, then you get.
You put it that way.
I'm always strapping my kitty cat pocket knife.
Oh my God. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll open the other one too. I think it's the same as the pink one.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Using matches. Thank you so much, Glitter. That was very kind of you.
Gratis.
Thank you. Gratis. All right, are we ready for question time? With a boy.
Ow.
Which one? Your choice.
I was playing a video game.
Blidio
A
Blames.
game where you bid.
Yeah.
A video game. I was playing a video game with Brandon a couple weeks ago. I can't even remember what it was. What have I played with Brandon?
I'm trying
it
to think
wasn't
of...
Left 4 Dead. It was...
Brandon played something recently, like late at night, and I'm like, y'all must be hanging out.
I can't remember what it was.
Back for Blood?
No. It may have been when we played... Actually, I think it was Left 4 Dead.
Maybe Left 4 Dead 2?
Yeah, I think it was when he and I were playing Left 4 Dead. And something happened. Like, he like, got hit by an enemy, and so he just, like, got, like, pushed out of the way or something. And he just suddenly, very earnestly, just goes, "Hey!" And I just busted a fucking gut because it was just so bizarre for him to just be like, "Hey!"
That's not nice. You're not supposed to do that.
And you're supposed to do that. Maybe it was when we were playing golf with friends. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean,
can't keep track anymore.
Not to be a bitch who can't get over the past,
Yeah.
but if anything deserves a
Because
hey,
your legs are too short.
that's correct.
Can't climb over the past.
No, I'm
You're firmly
stuck.
planted in the present.
No future.
No.
He's getting hit by that fucking tank as I'm running up to the helicopter.
That happened to Brandon then when we played.
The first time we ever hung out with Josh, that's what happened.
Yes, but then
Or I
when
did.
when Brandon and I were playing Left 4 Dead 2 when he was sick and we were just the two of us playing it, we were on No Mercy and the same fucking thing happened to him this time.
Oh,
we were
so
trying
good.
to get out and he got fucking like slammed. Because when we did it with Josh, well, it was you and Josh that got knocked off, right? No, it was you and Brandon, wasn't it?
Or was it you and me?
I got out.
So, because the whole thing was that like we wanted the achievement,
Yeah.
and that like it wasn't popping, and it's like, well, technically you didn't survive, and it's like,
Oh,
I understand that. Like, to be clear, it's not like I've been dead from the beginning, from part one. I died in the last 10 seconds of this encounter, and it's like, but you died.
you didn't make it on the helicopter, Sweat. I'm
Look,
sorry.
Sweaty, like, we have rules and regulations here, and if we have to make an exception for you, we'd have to make an exception for everybody. So it's easier. I know there's other resources, so you can just find another group and play again. Our game has a lot of replay value. And like, if you're really upset though, you can take a card and you can email our customer service, and I'm sure they'll help you out.
You'll be contacted by a live person. I said a live person. Who the fuck do you think I'm talking to now? Am I talking to you, who is not really here? Are you not a live person?
Is this not reality?
Because I thought you were a live person. Is this not reality? And she just says, I'm sorry, ma'am. There's nothing I can do. I said, give me my candles. And she keeps on apologizing. I said,
Give me my
I want to leave this store.
Carded me and my mother
To Appleton.
to buy these mother effing
Candles.
I did say the F-bomb.
Love that video.
It's so good.
It's so good. Classic internet.
And Dirty Q's did a great job. I believe that's their name. Is like the
the ones who did
comedy
the
group,
dramatic
skit.
reenactment.
Yes,
skit.
the dramatic reenactment.
We love to see it. We love
Because like the video of Angela itself is okay.
classic, but a little long-winded.
Well, it's long-winded and it's not as much comedy because like
It wasn't meant as comedy.
No, it was her being genuinely upset, which like
You should watch it once because it gives you an even better context for the whole thing.
But they do put in clips of her.
But for like replay value, the skit is where it's completely at.
Well, like Vera, like it just,
Oh yeah,
because like oh my god,
this manager
Jen, who full stop, I'm like, what is this like legitimate supermodel looking ass girl,
gorgeous woman who's just like
and we'll put this in your bag.
I love it.
It's so good. And like she like bedazzled the jacket just
Yes.
right to try to make it look good. It was really funny.
They are at our off-site store.
If you want to see this, just type in Bath and Body Works rant.
Yeah. And you'll get what you
and stuff will come up.
I love her. Anyway, accessories. We are currently in my necklace room. Also, type in QVC SNL.
Yeah, that one's good too.
That one is classic, and I won't stop saying it.
There is. You ever have videos that like you love, but like to be clear, they are not like they do not age well. They are not
Right,
good.
they're not good.
But like it's okay. Like that's the point. Is that they're bad. For one, the Broom Shakalaka video.
That video.
We got in a rabbit hole last night because I was like, I want to watch the Broom Shakalaka, and then like it kept recommending like Adult Swim infomercials,
Oh yeah.
and like there was some good ones,
Yeah.
like Looking for the Miracle Man, and The Man Who Makes Miracles, and like just the creepy weird cult shit. I actually can't remember any other one. It was the only two, the first and last.
Yeah.
But like there was other ones that were pretty good, and any of those are fucking funny. But having those just like cursed videos where you're like, oh, this isn't good. And there was one I was thinking of that I can't think of now. I kind of talked my way around. I didn't choose to remember it in the moment.
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
Brandon talks about how we need to make like a meme compendium, which is not to say like actual internet memes, but like our friend group memes to remember them, because think of how much think of all that we've lost over the years.
Oh, there's so many. The
And-
commercial grade appliances.
Think of how many things we've lost.
We
And we're
also
only
need-
reminded of very random.
We also should be like putting together a communal playlist of like video bangers that doesn't need to be in any order, but just like
Right.
those good ones, like the RuneScape Trap remix, a
Yes.
great one. We Are Number One, but RuneScape, also a
Yes.
great one. Gabe the Dog videos.
5 or 6 stories, like even just the classics.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Like, because God forbid you ever did somehow forget them.
How could you?
The 5 or 6 stores of the world, you know.
Because nothing feels better than
Bath
like
and Body Works
remembering
rant.
a video. I have this video about
Tight pants body rolls.
Oh yes, Titus Jones remix.
That one's best for listening.
Correct. For
Yes.
the video, you do need to watch the original.
Yeah.
The aluminum can video.
Aluminum can video.
Oh, I'll send it to you. Like,
Okay.
it's a guy who's so fucking passionate about aluminum cans, and he's like, he's sitting in the middle of this room, and he's got like, it's a full production, and it's a legitimate, just like a guy who's very passionate about this talking about it, and it's one of those where you're like, I didn't care about aluminum cans, but now I'm all about it.
Right.
Like, I'm all about how, like, why don't we use spheres or cubes? And, like, why is there a little bump at the bottom of a can? Like, all of that, it, like, explains it in, like, detail. And he's got all these cans set up, but they're all on, like, TV trays. And so in my head, I'm like, this is like a divorced dad who's just trying. And he's like, I got to talk about cans today, and like doing his whole thing. But it's very good.
Yeah.
It's a good soup.
Indeed.
Sometimes you got to put something on for the kids, you know? So, Quincy,
Okay. Yeah. Queen.
up to you. Your choice.
Oh, yeah. Question.
I'm not busy.
Yeah.
If you're busy, I'm busy. You want Mary Sue? I'll Mary Sue.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm down for whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
What?
Let me just get a question. Okay. Yeah.
I never thought before.
Boom. Question. Demon for Hire asks. For question time. If you could have any hair color or length, what would it be? And when you've dyed your hair, did you go to a salon or did you dye it at home?
We had a food at home, so I dyed mine at home.
Salon at home.
Salon at home is just mom's house. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking about it actually earlier today. I'm like, I've never had like long hair.
Yeah. Long.
Yeah. Like my coworker.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's what. Funny enough, bringing him up twice today. But like he has like long hair,
Right.
and like I'm like I've never had that, and I'm like why not? But I'm also like, but right now the top is very long, the sides are not, so it may not be the best time to do that. But
Yeah.
also I'm like, do I just start over? Because I hate being buzzed.
Yeah.
I don't like the way it looks. I love the way it feels, especially in the summer.
I know. I'm the same way. Like I look awful with a buzzed head, but it feels so good. I would want long hair just because then it's like if you don't like it, then you just cut it. But like, and
I
like
should do the Fryer look where I just got I got
Yes.
the headset, but then bald.
yeah, and because like for different things, like I've done like like extensions and shit just to like see what it looks like for like for the Halloween parties and stuff, and like I liked it, like it looked good, like but I have absolutely no patience or desire to grow it that long because there's so many ugly stages before you get there.
Does your hair grow back quick too?
Yeah,
So does mine. But like those awkward stages, it will stay.
it would
too
still
long.
take too long.
It'll also like not grow evenly at the same speed. So like it'll get too disheveled, and it's like you just have to like go in for a trim because it's not something that it's easy to do yourself.
Also, it looked good because like the extensions were like styled, and if you don't style long hair, it's just going to just
Drew,
be there, which is fine. But like I liked the way that it looked then, and I'm like, it would only ever look like that if I put in the work to do it, and that would take a lot of work. And I would on some days, and a lot of days, like when I'm just me, I wouldn't.
no one wants to just rock the ponytail.
And I don't want to do that. So I'm like, I would do it just because it would be really cool to know what it feels like with my real hair. Cause like extensions feel like extensions, so it would be cool, but I honestly would probably keep it the same color. Cause like, I like my natural color. I've had fun, like bleaching it and dyeing it gray and stuff, but yeah, I mean like, I'd probably just want it my natural color. I'm pretty.
This color that I have now is
Pretty
probably
happy
my
with it.
favorite that I've had it. And I didn't even know it would like this was one where like I bought it, and when it's fresh, it's purple. I'm like, I got to do the color sealing. I'm like, no. I want it to fade just a little bit to about this, where it's that kind of like, just like a softened color. And I'm like, this looks good. I like this. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, I like my normal hair too, but I don't know. It's just fun.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Demon.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, did you want to?
Yeah, I forgot to.
It's okay.
Bop, bop.
Bip bop. Skippy bip
where's
bop.
the next?
Just Like Fire by Pink. Yes, that is the one.
Just like fun.
I didn't know who sang it, but yeah. Space Antlers asked. I figured we could just try to go back and forth. We're never consistent about it, but we could try.
We just talk.
I talk too much. I gotta try. I've been trying to listen more.
Okay.
And be present,
Okay.
sometimes. Do you have question from Space Antlers? Do you have any advice for someone in the closet who doesn't want to be there anymore, but isn't sure if family will be supportive? I know it's a big one and kind of heavy. No worries if you want to skip. It's just been on my mind this week. Well, I can't just leave you hanging, unfortunately. But my advice is part of it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like nuanced. I'm just gonna kind of like be real, because I feel like if you're in the closet, you just kind of want someone to be real with you. Is like, depending on how old you are in your family, I would love to say that like they'll be totally cool and fine with it, but chances are that if you're having doubts and are genuinely concerned, it's because you probably already know the answer. That being said, you would be surprised, and it is also worthwhile to mention that although I do believe that like, you know, having hatred or bigotry, like, you know, especially to your own family, is despicable, as I have plenty of experience with from my aunt's side. It's not good. It's also important to remember that like ultimately it's your decision, it's you, but like to try to also be realistic. Like there is also, you know, a time that it takes to learn, and a lot of times, although it comes off as cheap, like realizing that someone important in your life is gay or lesbian or trans or whatever can actually start the process of being open to learning more. And like the only thing that I can give you is like to just be patient with them. And it's hard. Like there's like this is not a fun time at all. Or just wait until you move out and just own it up to you, or just live your shit. It's hard. I don't really know one way or the other like what the best way to do it is. It's dependent on your situation. I also like don't really like come out like, I guess like I don't like say to my parents like, oh yeah, look, I've experimented or whatever, because like it's just unnecessary and it doesn't really matter. And they don't like, also like my parents like don't need to know. But if I then was to date somebody who was a guy, like, and they were important enough that like they're going to meet family, I'm also like 30, so I don't live at home. I don't interact with my family like that on a regular basis. So there's a little bit of a difference. So I know I kind of talked a lot there, but I figured it was relatively solid. I mean, it's just you don't want to be there, then, you know, I guess you might also want to ask like, you know, is it, if you're not sure if they'd be supportive, is there one person that you think you that would support? Or you could like pose the question and, you know, be it, I don't know, man. Have you tried just being straight?
Oh my god.
Probably. And you hated it.
Probably didn't enjoy
That's
it.
probably why you're here. I'm sorry, we just needed a little bit of levity.
The kind of like the two things I would say to consider kind of before you know, kind of even think about like how to do it is, I mean, like the first and kind of biggest thing is like, just like know if you want, if like this is something that you actually want to do, or is it something that you feel you have to do. There's a big difference there.
It's okay to take the time to figure that out too.
Yeah, you don't owe anyone that information. If you want to share that with that person, if you know, feel that that's an important part of your relationship with that person, then by all means do it. But just know that you don't inherently owe someone that information. So if you're gonna do it, if you are in a position where it doesn't, you don't get outed or something, and you get to make the choice to bring that up, make sure that, you know, it's just that it's something that you really want to do and that's important to you. The second biggest thing, I think, and like maybe it's just because I'm kind of a better safe than sorry kind of person, is that like your safety obviously is the most important thing. And that can be hard to prepare for depending on your circumstances, just because like, you know, you don't always know. You really don't know how people are going to react.
And it's not to like scare you at all, but also it is one of those things where like, let's not talk about.
Right.
Like,
it doesn't help anyone to pretend that it couldn't go wrong, because it does. And for some people, not for everyone, of course.
Also depends on like where you live,
what your circumstances are. I would say like, especially if it's a situation where like you are living with family at the time, maybe family isn't the first people to, you know, and I don't know if you have come out to other people or not first, but like, maybe start with other people where it's less of a situation where like you're dependent on those people in some way. Like do it with like more of like a trusted friend kind of a thing, where even if that went really poorly, like that wouldn't affect like your living situation, because that's like kind of a real consideration there. Because yeah, it's just like, you never know. I really, of course, hope it goes well. And like when I came out, like I was really scared about it. I mean, like my parents are fairly religious, my mom in particular. And so like there was a lot of fear there. And so like I spent a lot of time like, you know, trying to maybe over prepare and like make sure I had like a lot of stuff lined up in case it didn't work out and I needed to get out of there and be on my own. Luckily, that's not what happened at all. I was incredibly lucky, and my parents are very supportive of me. But yeah, I'm an overthinker and a safety first kind of person. So like that's the only thing I would say is like I don't want to scare anyone because like this should be something that like you're doing because you want to do, and but like yeah, just try to consider that. I would just recommend.
I wish
general,
you could
like,
just do it.
Yeah, I would just recommend like have people in your life that know and that that's not a problem maybe before you risk telling people where it could like drastically affect your current living situation and things like that if you're in that position. If you're not living with,
it can be difficult to deal with also the fallout of it, of like these are people you loved and respected, and now like things change. And like I don't want to say that it's better to suffer in the closet and whatnot, right. But it is something that like it's not what you want to hear, but just being honest, like being genuine is like it may be better to, at least for people around you physically, if you are in a situation where you're kind of in that dependent kind of stage and you're unsure of it, to not there's other ways to like either like through like a single close friend, through online communities as well. You know, there's a lot of love and acceptance out there, and it's not all ignorance and tolerance and hate. And like unfortunately though, as much as we want to have these spaces, it doesn't mean their existence doesn't remove the existence of what, you know, caused them to get created in the first place. So
yeah. And just know that, you know, like I said, from my own experience, I got very lucky and my parents were supportive. It still was not an easy conversation. It was still really awkward. It still took time to kind of get to that spot. It's a big change. It changes things. Like, you know, you don't owe the information of your sexuality or whatever to anyone else, but when you do make the choice, and in some cases people have that choice taken from them,
assholes.
But yeah, when you do say that, it becomes a part of that conversation, and so like that is a shift in and of itself. So yeah, so in that regard as well, try to be patient to that. I mean, like some people aren't always going to it to your point, like yeah, like that can be the thing that incites some change in people who like otherwise wouldn't have been. It really fucking sucks when like it takes something like that for them to kind of like open their eyes to that sort of a situation. It takes it being their own kid and making it real to them for that to happen. But that does happen a lot, and that
like I also don't want to discount that type of like learning to come around as well, because I think that like we'll be too quick to bash those types as well. Right. Granted, I like with a grain of salt, like I recognize where I'm coming from here, but like it is also worthwhile that like, you know, especially for like a parent or whatever, you know, it I would argue in the same vein of like coming out as trans as whatnot, is like this is someone who has loved you, or you know, has like brought you into this world, or is taking care of you as one. They've thought of you in one way this entire time, and then now seeing it. Also, there's a lot of times where it's like, you know, kids that are like, oh yeah, like I'm gay, and it's like, yeah, like we knew,
yeah,
or like we're not surprised, like we also don't give a shit, like yeah, you still got to wear a condom. I don't care.
Yeah,
even if you're a girl, wear it. I don't know how it works for that.
Finger puppets. Yeah,
finger puppets.
Yeah, so that
I gotta find that picture.
Yeah, it's probably going to take some patience on your part. That does not mean that you by any means need to take any sort of like, you know, grief, emotional, physical anything like that from someone. Like, that's not what I mean by patience. But just go into it knowing that like that could take some time, and that it's going to be a pretty drastic shift in most scenarios. Not necessarily a bad one, but like there's going to be an awkward period. There's going to be a transition period, unless you get really lucky and you get one of those situations where they're like, yeah, we knew, like, I didn't get that. But we got there. It just takes a little bit. So yeah, so certainly don't, like, when I say patience, don't just like, you know, stay in a bad situation for the sake of it, but just know that it may take some time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like, you got to also, like, it's that as important as like our own internal mental, emotional, spiritual well-being is important, your physical well-being is also important. And it sucks because it's like, you should put yourself first. I agree, with a very small asterisk of like, as long as like you're gonna be cool there. It sucks, but hopefully like us being more like addressing the elephants in the room is better. Like, it's worth taking down, and it's not as much of a rush as you think. Also,
yeah, there is the hierarchy of needs is true in that like mental stuff is definitely very important, but like literal physical bodily safety is at the most base level. So like, yeah, that's, you gotta have that in mind, or at least that's how I tend to think about things, is that it's like, is my literal like living situation and physical safety, do I have a way of securing that even if this goes absolutely wrong? Yes. Okay. Then I was willing to take the jump and take the risk.
There's also situations where like, not like much in line with that, like people don't necessarily need to know your business. Like for example, at the workplace, like you can come out if you'd like, but you also do not have to. It is none of anyone else's business. Yeah. And it's like, if like, no matter what, people will talk in some capacity about everything all the time, because we're all bored and we're all looking to get wired, and we're tired of being tired. We're tired and we're looking for the wired. And so like, whatever it's going to be. So kind of like, in a way, it can be a little bit more intimidating, but it's also like, then fine, like fuck it, like you want to wear earrings, wear earrings. Like I've personally, like, not to relate my struggles to coming out of the closet again, like, oh, now I'm trying to remember what, there was a whole thing that I on my server, and I joked about how like, for me, realizing this was like,
oh, you told me about it. Yeah.
Did I even say it on here? I don't remember.
No, you just told me.
Yeah, it was
like, not on the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem saying it on the pod. Like, this is why it would be really funny. But I was trying. It was something like, it was very much of just like, I'm making a joke that in no way is that possibly like comparative to coming out.
Comparable, rather.
Yeah. Thank you.
You understand.
So I didn't finger Pepe. But if I can remember it, I'll bring it up next week, because it was good. I'll have to ask somebody. Denny probably knows. But yeah, so hopefully that helps. Yeah. And if not, then okay, we know you're gay now.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe. Oh,
You typed in clothes?
Oh.
Why didn't you just go to the soup store?
Soup. God damn it. Thank you, Ori. Oh, or is that ruby red? Oh, that's an old. She must have had that for a while.
Got that handle. Okay. Next actual question.
Hot Dog asked. Hot Dog. Question time. If you really put your all into it, do you think you could become a doctor? Or you could be a doctor? What do you think would be... Oh, there's a Reed Maury. What do you think would be the hardest and easiest parts of getting through med school, and then the actual doctor part for you? I think about this a lot, because there's absolutely no way I could do it, and I can't imagine being one who would want to do it. Too hard, Nikki. Oh, no, I fucked up. Oh, no. Boop, boop, boop. Thanksgiving.
Full question. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Potential spam. No, it is.
Oh, spam, you say.
I spam that.
Oh. Fuck, I just fucked it up.
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. It's because I shouldn't have pulled this up. Oh,
yeah, you didn't even need to. You overcompensated.
I'm boo-boo the fool. Okay. Oh, indeed. Do I think I could be a doctor? Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Yeah. In school and everything, my parents pushed me really hard to like do, like advanced classes and everything, and like and really go for all that and everything, and I did. And then when it came time for like college and stuff, it was kind of a weird spot where I had to kind of have like that moment of like figuring out like it was my parents didn't like try to like force me to be a doctor or a lawyer or one of like like the big ones. Like they didn't like by any means like try to tell me to do that. I was really lucky in that sense, and that they were very much like, do what you want, but they kind of like it was just sort of one of those things where it was like,
hey, just so you know, you can make a lot of money.
Right. And we know you're capable of it. And so it was kind of this weird thing of being like, okay, I know that I could do it. It would take a lot of work. It's not to say it would be easy.
But also makes you feel kind of like, am I fucking up by not doing that?
Exactly.
But it's like, but that's not what you wanted to do. So
yeah. So I had a lot of moments in college where I was like, I know I could do it. And am I like wasting my potential by not doing that, not going for this thing that like is really hard and would make a lot of money? But like I just sort of eventually had to have that kind of like moment of myself of being like, I wouldn't want to be that, and it's not enough to know that I could.
You'd have to see so many people.
Well, it's like it's a lot of interacting with people. It's a lot of like it's long hours, really hard work. Like yeah, you make a lot of money, but you also like have to invest so much money to get there.
Let alone the emotional toll and mental toll that it takes.
Right, depending on what section of medicine you get
being held responsible for someone dying or something like that.
Right, like there's so many layers to it, and like that was kind of what like put it in perspective for me. Was it's like it's not enough to know that gun to my head I could do this. It's like I'd have to want it, and I don't.
You'll never be as good as something if you don't actually want to do it.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's not wasted potential. It's like I can put all of my effort into something I actually care about, and that it's not less than being a doctor, less than being a lawyer. It's just different. It's something I actually want to do. Did I specifically want the exact job I have? Not necessarily. It's not like like a job I dreamed of or something.
No,
but it's a skill set that I am good at and that I enjoy doing. It has
turned into something that like as a kid I only could have dreamed of this.
Right.
Like I know as a kid I'm like I would love to like make money playing video games. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. If I was I've thought about that too. Where I'm like, if I had become a doctor or something, I never would have had like the time to make my hobby what it is now.
Like turn your hobby into a craft.
Right. It's not to say that a doctor can't have hobbies or something. Of course they can, but the channel takes so much work, like just straight up. Like
I have started to realize truly, like especially since like since we've been playing Divinity with Josh and whatnot, that like no, you actually are busy a lot, or like it's rather, or just like there's so much shit that goes into the channel. Like
I work on something for the channel
every day.
It's not always writing a full script. It's not always a recording.
No. You're not always doing an 8-hour shift every day.
But it's something. Some days it's 1 hour where I just like throw together a thumbnail for the next one. Sometimes I'm sitting there for 14 hours editing something. Like it's something for the channel every day. And I'm cool with that because it's a hobby that I care about, and I'm lucky enough that I have a real job that like works around that. But like, yeah, I have had that thought where I'm like, if I had a like way more intensive job that like was, regardless of time, is like so emotionally, I can only imagine being a doctor is like a super like emotionally like taxing job to have, that then like when you are off, you probably just want to be off. And like you probably don't want to have work on a hobby that, or at least I don't know if I would want to be able to put that much time into what has effectively become a second career for me. So that's crazy.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, bro. Honestly, for real. Yeah, no, I don't think I could. I guess yes, in the infinite universes, there's absolutely a version of me that could. Me, how I am now, no. Like, I'm not really good with precision. Like, if I have to do things like really precise, like dealing with small parts, like with my hands, I guess part of it is just practice, but it's also like, it's just hard for me. I got sausage fingies, not, my hand's like really red. It's weird.
Were you like resting them against
Yeah,
something?
yeah. That's why. But I'm like, oh, but yeah, no. So I couldn't. I don't think so. Did I just stab myself with the box cutter in my pocket a little bit? We're fine.
Box cutter on the table.
Mm-hmm. Cutting boxes and boxing cuts.
Cutting boxes. Questions from Cindy Carballo. Which did you like better as a kid? Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or Disney Channel / Disney XD? And was there a specific book that you really enjoyed as a child? I used to like reading the Babysitter Club books.
Ooh. I watched all three, but I did like it like at different points in my childhood. Like I was big on Cartoon Network. I was never like the biggest Disney guy. Like it depended on the show, but there was also so many that were just fucking bumping.
Yeah.
But then like as I got older, like I was cracked on like Drake and Josh and then iCarly. And then like Victorious came out and I didn't care anymore. Although like I did have like the biggest crush on like Victoria Justice when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And then I got over it because I was just like, yeah.
I actually never watched Nickelodeon really. That one just wasn't really on the radar. I was mostly a Cartoon Network kid, with Disney Channel sprinkled in.
Yeah, Cartoon Network was the core.
There were certain shows on Disney Channel that I would watch, but like
Phil of the Future.
I could just leave Cartoon Network on.
Yes.
If I left a Disney Channel on, I'd be like, oh, I don't like this one, I don't like that, or whatever, and it was like.
Well, on Fridays you got to have it on for DCOM.
Yeah, they had the movies, and Cartoon Network and Nick didn't really have that.
I remember the summer that I moved to Arizona, 2004, I believe. Our house was being built, and so I was down in Tucson staying with my grandparents, and which is where I took tap dancing for a little bit. And I'm actually really sad when we moved to Arizona, I actually stopped doing gymnastics, but like not because we couldn't afford it or anything, but because the nearest like gym, like a real gym, was like it was like a 45-minute drive.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to make my mom do that.
Yeah.
And so I just stopped. But there is a part of me that's like, she asked me if I wanted to. She goes, it is a 45-minute drive, but like if you want to, like we will make it happen because you've been doing it. And I'm like, that was really supportive of my mom, like, and good for her. And I'm like, I always make those choices as a kid of like, I don't want to ever put them out more,
Right.
But part of me that's like, man, I wonder what would have happened if I would have just like stayed and got to keep doing it. Yeah. Or I guess choosing not to. For books, the one that came to mind when you asked that question was I cannot remember the author's name. It might have been Nicholas Funke, but it's the Thief Lord.
Oh yeah,
if you haven't read that one, that was really it was it was weird. It was cool. The Thief Lord is the Now You See Me magicians, but like in book form for kids years ago.
Yeah,
and it's a vibe.
Yeah,
I like the Inkheart
specific book. Because I mean, like, yeah, like I had like Sabriel and all those that I've talked about.
Well, they say child, so I'm thinking
a little bit older. So like as a kid, well, there were the dinosaur books, the Dinoverse books.
Okay.
Those ones, fucking loved those books. But if there was like a specific book, I loved Supernaturalists.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
He's by the guy who did Artemis Fowl.
Mm-hmm.
I never read those, but I read the Supernaturalist, and I think it was the same guy, and loved that book. That book was very formative.
Dope. I also read the Left Behind series, I think, or something. Something Children. I think I've talked about it before, but it was it's about it's a world where they've had to restrict population, so every family's only allowed to have 2 kids. And the main character Luke, or the main character at least in the first couple books, and he's throughout the series, is like the 3rd kid, so he has to like hide often. Like they live out kind of in the middle of nowhere, like they live out in the woods, and so like he never gets to go out with the family or anything because like he'd get arrested or like killed or whatever, and like he ends up like seeing a neighbor. Because like ghost children or something like that, and like there's a neighbor girl who is also home when he's home, who is a 3rd child essentially. Like he knows that they don't have a daughter or whatever, and it's like and like them trying to like connect and like protest and try to like be like we're people, like our crime shouldn't have been that we were born, like we had no power over that. And like that was like a book series that I guess more starting like late, like preteen to beginning teenager, like over the summer my dad's girlfriend's son's grandmother would make us watch or like do book reports every day. So you had to read for like an hour or two or for whatever long it was, and then like you had to write 2 pages in cursive. And I'm like, I read through all those fucking books that we had. They were wild. So
I also read the Bionicle books. Loved them. My favorite one was, is it Dark Below or Darkness Below?
It was probably House of Wolves.
You know.
You don't have
Darkness Below.
Darkness Below.
That was my favorite one. I loved Bonkle books. Also read a lot of the Hardy Boys.
Oh, I tried. I didn't really get into them.
It was kind of boring, and like it was a thing where it was like I was kind of reading them like almost as like a thing, because it was like I was like, oh, these are for like older kids, but I can read them. So I'm gonna read
these
them.
are for like boys, but not like boys.
And I'm like, a child. And so there was like a little bit of like, ooh, watch me, I'm gonna read this. And I was like, these kind of suck though.
They're just boring.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Heike Mika 4646. I believe it's you, actually.
Coincidence time.
Was that from Josh?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
I think it's a picture of something.
What's he telling you?
Coincidence time. Do you watch Drag Race? And if so, what would your entrance lines be? Bonus question, if you do you have favorite queens from the new season or just in general?
Well, there's only season 5 and All Stars 2, to be clear. I feel like we made that clear. Well, actually, my favorite queen is one of the few queens that like made me feel things. And that's my girl Pearl.
Yeah.
Pearl's so fucking cute. In and out of drag, I'm just like, oh, you fried.
Little sleepwalker.
Oh man, my little sleepy bitch.
Wake up, Pearl.
I just need a sleepy little femboy. See, but I don't know if I don't think so. I don't think Pearl out of drag. I don't know.
I don't think Pearl counts as I don't think Pearl identifies themselves
no, I don't
as a
think
femboy.
So. I'm not as well versed on the femboys. Not to imply that you are more. I just am saying I don't think either of us have enough knowledge and wherewithal to classify femboys versus dudes.
Mask.
Mask. Unmasked.
Mask
Femboy.
bitches.
Hose.
When I was playing
Sleuts and suits.
When I was playing Callisto Protocol, there was a point where like the game was starting to wear on me. Like we had the high and then it was starting to come back down. I was like, I'm getting a little tired again. I need my wire. I was getting a little tired. And I like walked up to this panel.
Should have got some Mountain Dew wired.
And it's video game mechanics in general and horror game mechanics specifically, where it's like, go here. Oh, wait. Now you have to go here to get the thing to come back here and do this. That happened, and I walk into a room, and I walk to this panel, and you're like supposed to hit the button, and I hit the button, and it says access denied. And I just said, eat me, bitch. Because I was so pissed. I was like, done. And then I was like, that. It just came out involuntarily, and then I was like, that was a little much. That was a little real. Because it was like, access denied. I was like, eat me, bitch. And then I was like, oh.
Your dad did something similar recently. I remember when we were like, I don't remember how recent, but like where he made a comment, and I was just like, yeah, that was good. Like it was just a reaction. Like you break you drop the veil a little bit.
Yeah, it got me. Do I watch Drag Race? Yes. I watch basically all of them. What would our entrance lines be? Oh, mine would be, I would just like, I'd walk in and I'd do the whole like, you know, like when they walk, like they like know that they're everything. I'd like walk
like
in.
They walk in like I know I'm getting invited for All Stars.
Right. I'd walk it in and you're like do like the pump at the end or whatever, and then lean in and go, I'm gonna sweat so much. And that's my line.
I have hemorrhoids.
I'll
go, I'm here to have fun and make friends. I got lost.
I didn't know this was happening today. That Robbie Turner.
Mama Rue's going to be here and be like, what is you doing?
One,
and I'm going to go,
I love that entrance line.
Which one?
Robbie Turner's,
I don't.
who is like a whole. That's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But Robbie Turner's entrance line was like walks in like and everything, and then goes, "I didn't know this was happening today." I was like, "That's funny."
That's good. I just imagine like I have had a dream where I was on Drag Race in this sort of same context, but like I didn't know I was gonna be on, so like I don't have anything, and so they're like so like just this thinking of this reminded me of that dream where like I'm at the table. And like Mama Ru comes up and she's like, "Okay, Haboob Monsoon, what is going on?" Deep breath. And I go, they're like, "You don't have any tools out. What's going on?" And I'm gonna go, "I don't know how to sew. I don't think that I'm supposed to be here, but like this isn't like a me crying moment. This is just like I genuinely feel like you have security problems,
right?"
Because I myself don't know how I got here, and now I'm in the show, and then like I could imagine that like, well, you have no dresses, and so it's just like the same outfit because I only got my clothes.
Your entrance look,
and like and
your entrance look is you like in a sweatshirt.
Yeah, just this like
giving it to the girls. Here to do it for the divas and the dolls and the dudes and the doms.
I'm here. Can I say it? I'm here for pussy, baby. I heard there was honeys here. Oh my God. And that's what they should do. Every season there's just a straight like a guy from The Bachelor. Yeah.
They had a straight queen.
No.
But he was like an actual drag queen.
No, but
not
no
just
queen.
a straight guy.
No.
Yeah.
I just want like
you just want a straight guy.
I want Brandon there.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "You guys look great." Like yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like because it's like, oh, like they start getting catty, and I'm like, I mean, do you really think that's what they intended to do, though? Or do you think maybe you're like I'm not trying to defend them necessarily, but like I think it's worth taking about. Like you could just feel the rage. That would be good content. Yeah. For me. Oh. A bunch of pretty men mad at me. The dream.
Do you have favorite queens from the new season? From the new season, I mean, Sasha Colby is fucking Sasha Colby. But my like dream top 3 of that is Anitra, Mistress Isabel Brooks, who is fucking hilarious. I want Mistress Isabel to win, honestly. But like and then Sasha Colby. That's the dream top 3. But also like I feel like Sasha Colby should probably get it just because like she deserves it. At this, we're 2 episodes in, but she deserves it. But I want Mistress to win.
Mm-hmm. Why was Alyssa dragged for her camera dress when that was fucking a banger in season 5? I'm still mad.
The All Stars 2.
I don't care.
They're
the same season in my brain.
That was not only not the worst dress that's ever been on that stage. That wasn't even the worst dress on that stage that night. By any means. It was a good outfit.
And for the edit, you would have thought she won.
Yeah, they really like. I was like, what are you? I was like, that it looked great.
She just needed to expand her repertoire of references.
Beast. Mm-hmm. Well, because Aja didn't know Studio 54. Oh.
Justice for Thorgy. I'm open to alliances.
I want Thorgy back on that show so bad. She's fucking hilarious.
They give Trixie a goddamn guitar, and they give me Stevie Nicks.
And get Stevie Nicks.
And then she does, to be clear, an absolutely spectacular Stevie Nicks.
She did great.
On the exact same level of fucking bitch doing the other bitch. I don't remember the names. Fill it in. Trixie doing
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton. Those are the bitches.
Right.
Yes.
Well, Trixie was just safe. But still, her performance was completely safe.
She got a guitar. Yeah, because like it makes sense. It's like typically when you get to do your character, it's good. Unless you're somebody. What's her name? Who did the Miss Janet Jackson is it Coco?
That's Kennedy.
Oh, it's Kennedy. Yeah.
That challenge, that was Kennedy was doing Janet,
and it wasn't good.
Well, she was at the bottom.
Yeah,
but she should have been. But the other one should have been Milk. Mm-hmm. Milk looked like shit, and then cried about being safe.
Milk.
Gorgeous man, but like, and the hate.
So whiny.
The hate that Milk received after the season was absolutely like blown out of proportion and unwarranted, and people were gross. But like, Milk should have been in the bottom in that episode.
Oh yeah, I don't care about the looks. I just mean like their attitude. They were babies.
It should have been Milk and Kennedy.
Yeah.
But instead, Thorgy became our sacrificial lamb. Honestly, like, I love Aja, and Aja was like, dragged through the mud on that season so unfairly. But I think Aja did worse than Thorgy in that one.
Thorgy seemed like she did great, but it's like
did good.
You gave someone Stevie Nicks, who's like,
well, and she did everything you're supposed to do, though. She played up the like the witchy, the spinning, the like just like the campness of it all, and she was giving like her own face and stuff, and it looked great. And I'm like,
it just wasn't as fun. And it's like, you gave it to me.
Yeah,
we expected you to make it fun.
Any of the challenges where they assign a role, it's inherently like imbalanced and not great. Like, they're just not as fair. Like the ones where they have to like fight for the role and they can pick what they want,
or they have their own,
or one where they get to choose the character. Like Snatch Game style, like if you fail, it's usually pretty much more or less on you because like you chose that character. But like Thorgy didn't choose Stevie Nicks. Thorgy was not only given Stevie Nicks, was given the lines, like didn't get to like improv or anything, like it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Justice for Thorgy. Put Thorgy Thor back on the television.
You know what though? Trixie and Katya should have won. Or Katya should have won.
Yeah, I was like, Trixie did win.
I was baked as shit on a peach ring at my dad's house, and I send you the Snapchat that took me 20 minutes in his kitchen to type out. You probably still have it somewhere. I think I do too, of just like, Katya honestly should have won because like her lines in Reggie Voiture were great.
It was so borderline unintelligible, but I was like, he's got the spirit. I get it.
Well, it's like, yeah, like it was just like, it seems like all this work, and in the picture of me, like you could see,
you
like
looked
like I was trying so hard. And it's just like, I think Katya should have won.
Yeah, that was what it boiled down to.
But I was like, in All Stars 2, in the final, like I was too specific, like in the instance, but like all my energy went into making sure you knew what I was talking about, which you would have known if I said Katya should have won.
Should have won.
But say laughing.
Syllabi.
So that's good. I like that one. I like that lamp.
Okay, that was not a question. This is a question. Boop, 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 boop,
boop. Oh, question time.
Boop, boop, boop.
We got a...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to scroll.
We'll scroll as we go.
Okay. Do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
Do it either way.
Your choice. Let's swap off on paragraphs because that won't be complicated.
Okay. Yeah.
You can go first.
Eric and Odie. The journey continues as the muse looks at you in confusion, seemingly annoyed at the possible realization that the Hierophant could be involved in some way. The muse turns to the Hierophant, moving closer, but the storyteller gets between them, placing their gloved hands on the muse's chest. I'll handle this, the storyteller says, asking the Hierophant to follow them into the pre-ceremony chambers, located across the post-ceremony chambers. How convenient.
That's good. That's good word building. Take notes. Now, storyteller, I've been meaning to discuss this with you, the Hierophant said nervously. No more words were exchanged as the storyteller guided the Hierophant to the chambers, taking off one of their long gloves in the process and closing the doors behind them. Ew. Weird. Okay.
The both of you look at each other, unsure of what was happening.
We gotta do it for the YouTube thumbnail. Like...
But could see the muse wearing.
We should try to get YouTube to take
that.
Wait, so you gotta hold it for the thumbnail, right? Just.
The both of you. Nope. You can see the muse wearing a myriad of emotions on their face. The muse crumpled the pamphlet in their hands. You know what they say: only fools fall in love. A storyteller in this realm, the more they create, the more stories they write, bring to life, the more they fall to the corruption. That is their gift and their curse. They bring hope and smiles, but inside they're losing the battle within. My heart knew the risk, but I have no regrets. The risk was worth taking, always will be.
Okay. That's sweet. Yeah, we still gotta scroll because I'm just like look over here. Okay. From behind you, a soft sniffle was heard. Why are my paragraphs so much shorter? I'm sorry. I'll read two.
You picked the order.
I know. From behind you, a soft sniffle was heard. That's so beautiful. Turning around, you see the Page of Cups, teary-eyed and blowing their nose under their handkerchief. How are you both not moved by this? You question the Page's reappearance later as the storyteller walks out of the pre-ceremony chambers wearing both of their gloves again. Making their way up to you, the storyteller smiles. The Hierophant said you were both on a journey for answers. I was told the Page of Cups is seeking answers as well. Maybe together you can all obtain the answers you seek.
Y'all talking about the Page of Cups?
The Page of Cups.
The choices are as follows. We don't need this lovesick page ass joining our adventure. They will only slow us down. Do they not
Bottoms
have?
are slow.
Do they not have anyone else to assist on our journey? Maybe there are some extra robed figures out back or in some other secret dungeon in the ever so holy church. The page looks like they have stars in their eyes, looking ever so excited to join you on your adventure. How horrible would you be to crush their hopes and dreams, plus one party member?
Can we have a meeting?
I think we should.
Okay.
Oh, I thought we were going to meet in the hype.
Oh,
where they can't see
oh,
us.
oh, that's a good one. Okay, yeah. Let's meet in the hype. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. We could take this guy.
Yeah.
And
we could take him.
oh yeah, well obviously he's weak.
He's a lowly.
He's got no wrist support.
Nah.
He watches tennis.
You're right.
All right, and so here's what I'm thinking. I think we can have him hold stuff for us.
Yeah.
We can give him attention every once in a while just to keep stringing him along a bit.
Sounds about right.
And like really try to like secure ourselves as like emotional foundation for him, so that like in the end he'll sacrifice himself for us, and then we don't have to like worry about telling him that we want him to go away.
Okay.
I don't know. What about you?
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just don't give him anything too valuable because he'll probably drop it and then cheat out the
Oh
camera.
no. Like we give him the cursed items and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All I could think of is the Vine or the TikTok where the girl's wearing a Dr. Seuss hat and she's drunk as shit and she goes, "I'll pay debit, please." But that's me going, "We'll take the page, please."
Welcome to the party.
All right, yeah. Come on, Cup Boy.
Welcome aboard, Cup Boy.
Cuphead?
Cuphead.
Yeah, we got Cuphead.
Yo, we got Cuphead.
Yo, come on, Cuphead.
Hop in, Cuphead.
Yeah. As he gets him, I'm just going to kick him a little bit in the back of the shin.
But then say you're sorry.
I'm sorry. Oops, sorry, I had a spasm. My bad.
That is so older cousin who shoved you, and then the aunt went, "Hey," and he goes, "Sorry."
Sorry. I said what? I said sorry.
I said sorry. Say it again and mean it. Do you remember
No.
that?
Yeah, and it's like
Being a kid, I hated
don't
that.
mean it.
I'm like, I'm like, you're just trying to train me to lie for your convenience.
well, hey, what you did was just mean. Oh,
Yeah.
well, okay. Well, that's like a slightly better way to go about it. Of like, did you want to just be mean?
Yeah.
Why? Because I don't like them. You shouldn't have to like everybody.
Yeah, you shouldn't like make the kid apologize and then like say the whole like, no, you have to mean it. Or the better one was like, say it like you mean it. I'm like, you're literally just trying to teach them how to say something that they don't believe in. I'm like, and I'm not here to tell someone like
You
know,
should or shouldn't.
like the right way to do it, because I don't know, and I don't have kids, so I don't have to find out. But like, I don't know. I feel like that's not the best play to be like, you have to apologize just for the sake of having them say those words.
It's like they don't mean it. We all know they don't mean it.
So then why do you even teach them to say it?
When it should be like, hey, why did you do that?
Right.
I don't know. No, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead. Fine. I do want to know because you're me. Because the truth is, a lot of times with kids like that, it's like, why did you do it? And it's like, well, I never really thought about it, but now that I break it down, like, I'm just annoyed that like he's got new Pokemon cards and I don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, do you think that like pushing him is worth that? And like you could actually have like a really good meaningful conversation with a kid about like learning to like think about, that's how you help kids think and understand that like
Develop empathy.
and that like it's not all about you, which always comes off very condescendingly. Like I remember as a kid where it's like, not everything's about you, you'll grow up. And it's like, okay, well, you don't need to like tell me that in a way where it shows that you don't follow that either.
Right.
It's like, no. Like there are times where we have to be a bigger person, and like there are things you want to do, but it's important to recognize why you're doing those things, because you should be able to accept the responsibility for those things.
Well, and there also is genuinely an aspect of being a kid for like a lot, maybe not all kids, but for a lot of kids where like there literally is a thing of it takes a little time to realize that like you aren't kind of like it's not all about you, not in a sense of like, you should just care about other people. But like I remember I had this I think I may have mentioned this before, but I had this really weird moment when I was a kid when literally like I had been going to school and everything. And then, you know, on the drive home, my mom literally asked, like, what did you do today? And I was like, I had this like weird moment where I was like, I don't know why she keeps asking. Like, if she knows what I did. Like, I did it. And I was like, no, she's a different person and she wasn't there. I'm in my head. She's in hers. And she's literally asking me what happened because, like,
she's curious.
She wasn't there, like, watching my day. I was living my day and she was living hers.
Yeah.
And it was this, like, weird moment of, like, oh, yeah, like, people are just, like, living their life. And, like, they're also people.
We're all more self-centered than we realize, but it's not a negative thing. It's just something to be aware of.
It's not in a selfish way. It's literally just like you are in your experience. So, like, it's your framing device for everything.
Like, it's also, like, yeah, it's not necessarily, like, normal or instinctual to always be thinking of, like, everyone else before yourself, too.
Yeah.
Like, in that sense of, like, no, it's always how it affects ourselves. Even in the most selfless act, like, it's why there's always, like, a tinge of doubt, like, even myself, I'll be like, am I actually a good person, or am I only doing things because I don't want people to think I'm not a good person? But it's like, okay, but you're still doing the thing.
You're still doing the good things.
Like, and you're only thinking that after you did the thing. You didn't think about it up before you did the thing.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Human Sky asked, yeah, George Santos just keeps lying, but that's nothing new. Thanks, New York Times. Questions. Just went through a breakup, but it's getting a little better. Nice. Any advice on filling that void? Preferably with someone handsome. No. Also, you don't have to answer this if you guys don't want to, but what are your opinions on the idea of still being friends with somebody you date? Oh, this is actually a good one. I have things. Any advice on filling that void?
I mean, like, my immediate joke answer was food, but that's not really. That's not actually. I'm just kidding. I mean, like, honestly, like, when I've had that, like, I tend to throw myself into my work, which is, you know, there are levels to that. That can be a good or bad thing. It can be a way to help you focus and to, like, work out things in, like, you know, in a creative way, but it depends on your work. That also can go very self-destructive very quickly if you're, like, not addressing any of the feelings that you have and you're just using this as, like, an avoidance technique. But, like, yeah, like, for me, it was it often comes down to, like, doubling down into a creative outlet, because that's a way for me to, like, you know, work through things and also give myself like a new point of reference and a new focus, because, like, it is a big shift. I mean, it depends on how long you've been with the person or whatever and how integrated into your life that they are.
It wasn't until Tyler and I broke up the second time that, like, I decided, fuck it, I'm going to make a Twitch channel. Like, I'm glad I did. But, like, sometimes it's like you just, fuck it, I'm just going to try something because, like, I need to. I already know that, like, I'm not going to be doing great soon.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a whole portion of your life that is now gone. And so, like, you know, you got to fill up that space somehow. And for me, like, creative hobby stuff helps a lot with that.
I agree. I think as someone who's, like, dealt with it a few times, one thing to recognize is that depending on the breakup too, it is partly that you do miss having that person in your life, but there's also at a more, like, innate human level that you just miss having that, like, that level of trust in a companion regardless. Like, I mean, at least for me, like it was similar to, like, when I, like, lived on my own. It was weird at first because it's like, oh, I don't have someone, like, I've always had, like, friends I lived with, or, you know, other roommates like you, and then, like, you, me, and Tyler, and then Tyler and whatnot. But a big thing is, like, it's a really good time for self-reflection as well. Like, the biggest thing is that, like, that void won't get filled, but it doesn't necessarily need to be filled, and that there is merit in exploring that void. So, like, of, like, okay, like, asking yourself, like, I feel like this, I just missed something, and, like, take some time to just ask yourself, like, why, like, maybe write stuff down and whatnot. But yeah, like, moving that stuff into you know, thinking about what aspects of, like, that relationship that you really liked, what parts you didn't like, kind of, like, reflect. Is it something that's, like, due to the nature of the breakup? You know, is there things that, Like I genuinely feel like so nobody's perfect. There's always something either of the two parties could have done differently to improve, but sometimes you need to just break up to figure out how to be better.
Yeah.
Or like, space and whatnot. And with like opinions on being friends, I am still friends with most of the people that I've dated. Like literally just like talked to Ari the other day and talked to you hung out with Tyler yesterday. And a lot of it is a willingness. Like, can I go on a side tangent that I think I've gone on before? It's on the show, but like, so one thing that is related to this, actually Ori and I had this whole conversation when we went to Sedona when she was out here, but like she was telling me about how like when she was like in middle school, there was a guy she was friends with, that was cool, whatever. Then was like, hey, they were like, I really like you. She's like, oh, like I don't like see you like that, and then like just like ghosted her like at school and stuff, and it's like that hurts so much for her. And I'm like, well, as a guy, I'm like, I understand that so much more now, because she's like, it just sucked because she's like, I thought we were friends, and it's like, what the fuck. And thinking about like the friend zone and whatnot, which if you're thinking in terms of like friend zone, like you're not thinking about it right. You're more focused on having a title than like a relationship with a person. And I thought it was really interesting because I'm like, thinking about it as a guy, like as a boy, like, and again, it's never like it's that stuff where like it's only because of retrospect and hindsight and like coming at it from a new direction that we see mistakes in the way that things just are. And one thing is that as a boy, I never really had friends that were girls, because almost always whenever I did, it was always like, oh, do you like her? Is it this? To where you become friends with girls because you like them with your feelings, not necessarily because they're just cool people. And like the embarrassment of like, we got really close, it's really cool, I'm just like I only be like really tried to be friends because of a crush. And so the foundation was kind of fucked from the get-go, because like we're not really like, it's unintentional, but we're not really taught how to just also like, they're just the same. And so like if I ever have kids or like nieces and nephews, like that's something I never want to like bring up, is like or it's like, hey, like, oh, I'm getting really close, I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'm like, hey, like I'm not gonna assume you do, but like, if you ever have like, feelings of like crushes or anything, you're always more than welcome to talk, but I'm never going to assume anything, because like, that's the fun for you to decide. It can maybe seem like it a little bit, but, and then, that could fuck up your thoughts, but sometimes it takes someone calling something out that it's like, oh, whatever. Yeah. But it can be really hard. And so like, not that I'm saying you should forgive guys for being shitty, but like oh God, like I really liked this girl. And then like when I finally like asked her to like, oh, like, do you want to like go out on a date? And she said no, like I just want to be friends. Like it's like, oh, like she doesn't like me, but I like her. So like if she doesn't have this feeling about me, like I'm so embarrassed, like I am so sorry. I clearly you don't want me around, so I'll just leave you alone.
Right.
Grain of salt, like in a general sense, like I know I have felt like that before. So it's like, then from that kind of perspective, it can kind of make sense where it's like, I'll just leave you alone, I don't want to bother you. But then like you leave the girls hanging, like, well, what the fuck? Like, was everything else just like bullshit up to this point?
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like, especially as you start to become more of an adult and whatnot, I don't know how old you are or anything. So, but you do tend to, if you want to be friends, you can just be friends. Like it sounds really dumb, but like even with Tyler and I was like, I'm like, I understand, like, if you, like, just, like, we got to break up because, like, I already knew it was coming, but it's like, okay, like, we just lived together, so it sucked. Like, we broke up, and then we're still living together for 2 months. But, like, that, because of that, we just made it work. I'm like, you can just choose to be friends. That being said, once she had moved out, there was a good period of time where, like, we were still talking on the phone a lot because we were both living alone now, so... I was calling everybody for a few hours at a time every day, because it's like I gotta talk. Like I can't just go full silent suddenly. Like it's a transition. But then there will be a period of time where you guys are finally letting each other have space, but more so because you're focusing on your own. and it'll kind of like come and go in waves. But like, no, friendship wise, like absolutely, like I still hang out with Tyler, still hang out with Coco, like people I was in year-long relationships for. So it's just a matter of like if you want to. And some people, like especially guys, are not emotionally mature enough to be able to like put their pride aside or like put their feelings. And sometimes it's like maybe down the road, but it also just depends on, you know, the nature of whatever the hell your guys' relationship was.
Yeah.
They cheat? No.
Yeah, it really depends on like, just in general, yes, absolutely. You can still be friends with someone that you dated. It depends though on, you know, the circumstances of that relationship, and you know, friendship is a two-way street. So like you both kind of have to be on the same page, and you know,
it's communication.
There may be a disconnect there where like maybe one of you wants to be friends and the other doesn't, and like that's that's tough in its own way. But like
everyone's also just trying, it typically is just trying to protect themselves in a way too, and like not that excuses behavior, but if you know, like whatever's best for them. So like sometimes you don't want to talk to them because like I just don't, like, you know, you don't know, it's hard to describe, like you're just working through stuff and you just kind of like are enjoying the space that you're growing in that they're not in. But it's not because they're like, it's not against them, like it's not because they're not there that you enjoy it, but rather the space that was made by the relationship ending is new, and you've kind of gotten to a point where you've accepted it and you're trying to just embrace and figure out this new chapter of your life. And like sometimes your partners won't like that, but it's okay, you just got to do your best and trust.
Yep.
And these are like real serious questions today.
Serious questions today. Sheet.
Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. Mr. Worldwide. 305.
Mr. 305.
You good?
If you had to pick a theme song for each other and pick one for yourself, what would it be?
You got Fireball, and it's just
a theme song for you. Oh, goodness. I mean, like, my brain immediately goes to Jump Up Superstar.
It's a good one. It makes me cry.
Yeah. It fits.
It's a solid one.
Yeah.
Like I really liked. There's this. It's by White Bat Audio. It's a royalty free like I don't know how to describe it, like cyberpunky kind of thing. It's like doom 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 doom, and I'm like, yeah, that's Eric. Yeah, like it's a vibe. Yeah, like, there's enough neon in it. Yeah,
neon. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's hard to come up with that stuff. And like for myself, I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, well, because it's also a tough thing if it's like there's theme song, and then there's like just
your
like
anthem,
your favorite song. Because like I love I love the song like Mi Amore by Friendship, like one of my absolute favorite songs. I'd have to think about the lyrics a little more to be like, is that my theme song? No.
Is this something I support?
Yeah, because I'd have to like really like think about it too. But yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's the squid jigging ground for me. Sis.
Not that song. I'm haunted by that funky song. I'll go Quench.
Oh, that was really sweet. Can you heart it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We could respond and say, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's always good. Nicolio. Hi. Hello. Also, Quinchins. Odie. What's an anime you wish you could experience again for the first time? Eric. You like jazz? JK. What's your all-time favorite board game? Is there a board game that you're like, this is the one, she just hits different?
Do I like jazz?
I wouldn't necessarily turn it off.
I won't turn it off. I wouldn't turn it on.
Unless it was for a good bit.
Right.
Yeah.
What's my all-time favorite board game? My brain immediately goes to Scythe.
I was going to say my instinct was Scythe. Because, like, for me, too, in a way, even though I don't own it. But, like...
Scythe...
Because we'll get cracked on that shit.
For me, there's kind of, like, two sections of games. There's two, like, archetypes of games. And they're far too broad and like, you know, non-specific and unhelpful. But I'm like, there's serious games. And then there's, like... Silly games, but not exactly silly games, just less serious games. And for me, Favorite serious board game? Scythe.
Yeah.
Favorite not serious board game? Sorry. Hands down. Fucking love Sorry.
I see, for me it's Monopoly, and I don't care. I don't care which version of it, but only
I like Monopoly.
I like the first few versions. I watched a whole video about the statistical, like how to statistically play the best Monopoly and like which ones you should do, and I'm like, it's still not perfect.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting, like thinking about what properties are worth buying, or if it's two halves of the board and the way they divide it is weird, is a whole good thing. Anime for the first time. Honestly, Death Note was such a trip. It was like as like the first anime I really watched. Like it was Death Note and SAO. Although SAO gets real weird, whereas Death Note is also weird, but it's solid. In a different way, like Hunter x Hunter also was good, because like not too long, I don't know, a few months ago, I ended up like, it was like, I'm gonna like rewatch Hunter x Hunter, and I got like halfway through the Chimera Ant arc, which is so close to the end, but the Chimera Ant arc is so fucking long. But like the very beginning, like when they play like Departure, which is like the theme, where it's like da ba do ba dum ba 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 ba, and it's real like kind of bombastic, and like it's season 1, episode 1, so like it's just going, and it's like you don't, when you first watch it, you're just like, oh, this is like a fun show about some boys becoming hunters or whatever, and then it's like, I've seen what happens. I know how his fight with Neferpito ends. I'm like, I was just in tears at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, because I'm like, these kids, like, they have no idea how hard they're going to work soon. And like, I have so much joy on this rewatch of like, remember when it was easy, when it was just the Hunter exam. Yeah. So that's a good one. I mean, JoJo's too, because it's sick as fuck, but like only in like I forgot everything I knew, and now I can just do it all again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca. Quick wit. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
100 duck-sized horses.
Absolutely, hands down.
Because I don't think they really bite too hard. I don't think, compared to, I don't like ducks.
Horses absolutely can bite, but like it's much smaller and it seems safer. Mm-hmm. You know that scene? I
could kick a lot of the horses away.
Well, that's the thing, is like that scene at the very beginning of Lord of the Rings, where like Sauron is literally just like swinging his like giant thing, and people are just flying. That's me with duck-sized horses. They're just gonna be
just done.
So I'm just gonna be swinging.
It's like, yeah, you gotta fight 100 of them, but like they're small. Swinging. But one giant duck, I hate ducks in general. I fear
it's gonna
them.
Immediately like bite you, and that's gonna hurt really bad or kill you.
Or worse.
Expel. No.
I know. But I'm being blunt. Like, I'm not fucking with that. That's nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Because they're terrible creatures.
Yeah.
They put the fowl in waterfowl.
You're right.
Next question.
All birds are gross.
I'll
say it.
Birds aren't real.
They're not real and they are gross.
A bag. Melissa Lou, 69. Quentin, is there any form of media that ended before it could really end that you still think about to this day? Like it ended randomly and abruptly without any actual finale. Follow up: if you were allowed to create an ending for it, how would you do it or not do it?
Any form of media.
I'd like them to make more Hunter x Hunter episodes eventually.
I mean, Enterprise ended pretty much randomly, and it did have a finale, but the finale was like so wildly disconnected. Like it literally was like a 4-year time jump. It was a really weird contained story that didn't interface with any other part of the season, because literally like the season was just the season, and then they were like, no, you got canceled, but we'll let you make a finale.
Oh, so they had to just like, it's the best that they could do with what they had, because they didn't.
They could have done a lot better.
Oh, okay. Well,
it feels really bad and really tacked on. So like, if that show could have had more, but I'm sure they were in crunch time trying to write it. So like if they could have had more time, like I would have loved if that show could have kept going, because like I really like it. I think it gets more hate than it deserves. But like in general, even if like it only got like, you know, not even necessarily one more season, like that would have been great. But like if it just could have had like an ending that wasn't rushed,
like a 2-parter.
yeah, or like a movie, you know, whatever. Like either way, like that, I really think it deserved a better ending than it got, because they kind of got blindsided by it. And so then it ended up in the hands of, you know, like writers who I don't think were prepared to do such a thing. And so you ended up with a result that felt very disjointed and
It's
very...
like, fuck, if we could have like known that this was the last season, like we would have planned it a lot better.
They would have framed it much differently, which would have been really cool to see, I think. So yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Because I can't really think of any, like... I can't really think of a game offhand that didn't get one.
Or like a series.
Halo Wars ended in a really weird spot for a very long time, but then they did just come out with Halo Wars 2 a little bit ago, and it actually was like, oh, okay, cool, it makes more sense. Because Halo Wars 1 ended in a way where it was like... It definitely felt like it needed more.
Like, oh wait, it's like all of a sudden it's just over and you weren't expecting it.
Yeah, and it was very much a cliffhanger, and it felt like it was never going to get one. It didn't even get like books, as far as I know. Like, it didn't really get anything, and so it was like, this is just really weird, because like Halo tends to, like, you know,
keep everything in universe sort of. Like, it makes it feel almost like...
It felt really weird and tacked on. So like, but it got Halo Wars 2 finally years later, and that actually felt like it, you know, kind of helped explain where it ended. So.
Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is like Firefly, but I've only ever seen the pilot. So like, I've seen the pilot, and I've seen the very end of Serenity, which when Brandon and I and Jordan moved into that apartment that we had in Tempe that was furnished, we turned on the TV and that movie was on, and it was at the end when an important character gets killed. And I'm like, this is all I have seen of Firefly. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a good one for that. I do like Steph's comment. It's not a question, but just no questions this week, because I spent all my spell slots for effort for hype on fixing the YouTube panel, because y'all keep whining.
Steph always 7.
Oh, must be
states
nice.
Rather than asks.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see. Question.
Lots of people going back in time.
Yeah.
We need to go back.
We gotta go back. Okay, we got some Quentin.
Okay. Yeah.
Question. Ooh.
From Malika Maya. You may go.
Odie, what was it like during the immediate lead up to starting your very first stream? Excitement, nervousness, just wanting to finally start one? Do you carry some of those same feelings with you when you go live now, or do they differ?
So my very first stream was, I made a channel, I wanted to stream, and I was in that when we'd start doing some research and get some tips, and you're doing a lot, but you haven't done the thing yet.
Yeah.
And
doing everything around the thing.
Mm-hmm. And I finally was like, you know what? I realized I could stream through my Xbox, and I had my Twitch connected. I'm like, I'm gonna stream this game of Call of Duty Zombies I'm playing with Zach and Bourbon. And Bourbon was also streaming, and it was his Xbox Live party. So when I streamed my game, they could not hear my party chat. They could only hear me making weird responses to what they were saying.
To something they couldn't hear.
And like, it was choppy because like whatever, I seen that like 2 people came in, one person said hi and the other person said like, just like numbers and names.
Yeah.
Like, you suck. And I was like, okay, cool. And I did it for like 20 minutes and then I ended it and I went, okay. And I kid you not, it's because I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and get the worst stream out of the way.
Yeah.
And like, that's a solid strategy, because even then I was like, okay, well, they couldn't hear it. That's interesting. I couldn't broadcast this. I would have to own the Xbox party if I want to have that party chat or use, outer things. I learned a lot. Like, I still don't like, do I carry the same feelings? Not really. Like, I'm never like scared to be live. It's really more of like, even though I'll put out a schedule, it's like, sometimes I'm not as hyped for the games. Like, even though they're games that I like to play or like activities that I want to do, it's like, on the day, like it is like I have a schedule, but it is subject to change. The times are always solid, but like the content, like I'm like, yeah, we're not playing Final Fantasy today. We're gonna do media share and just kind of hang out and have a good time for now, because like it's just Final Fantasy is a little slow today, and like I don't really like, I'm tired of being slow today. I'd like to speed up, so or like have some more like chaotic fun or whatever. So a lot of it's more of just like, I hope like this is worth people's time to like come in and hang out with. But I'm also much more of a an improviser than a planner, just as like a person overall, which has a lot of drawbacks but also has a lot of strengths. I'd argue, much like how planners, like the planner side of it, there's strengths and weaknesses. So yeah. And then I think there is a question for you. I can read. If you can scroll it down a little bit. Eric, what is the most cathartic aspect of the creative process for you? Brainstorming, scripting, recording, editing, releasing the art. What makes it so? Thanks for the episode, you two. Thanks for the question.
Cathartic. The most cathartic one is probably recording. Because you've spent time brainstorming, you've spent time scripting, getting the words right and everything, figuring it out. And so then the actual act of like standing there and getting to like put the emotion behind it, so it's not just words anymore. Now it's like a thing, with like better context. Like that always feels really good. It's not always easy. Like it's lots of retakes and stuff where it's like, like you have a line where it's like, this line is important.
Does that tend to be like the hump though, that like once you've at least recorded it, like you know that you can like push yourself to edit a lot, or no? Because I know you edit while you record mostly, depending on time.
The hump is honestly scripting, because like brainstorming I do all the time and is easy. That's also cathartic, because like when you
I've seen your computer, like you have a million notes.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. And when like a plot idea hits you and you just like knock it all out from like a brainstorming standpoint, that feels really good. That feels really like rewarding and fulfilling. So like brainstorming is also a very cathartic experience.
Like when we made the moon video, where like we just kept like it became more because we got excited about it. Okay, I'm going for feeling, not to be a pick me. Continue. I'm very self-conscious.
So the brainstorming is very cathartic. The recording is very cathartic. In terms of like a hump of it, it's definitely the scripting, because that's the part where it's like almost always the scripting is the part that like takes the most work, because when I'm scripting, I'm also thinking about how I'm going to say it. So like
you're kind of doing multiple things at once.
Right. For some people, like the recording would probably be the hardest part, because it's like
you have to do the thing.
Like if someone was to hand you a script and now you're like blind reading and recording it at the same time. Yeah. Then in that case, recording would absolutely be like the bottleneck, the hump of the thing, where it's like, oh God, if I can just get this done. But because the scripting is like, it's not just trying to like think of how to script it. Part of what decides how I script it is me literally thinking in the voice of the character, like, how does this sound? How would I like deliver this line? So that becomes the hard work, because it's like, I'm basically like pre-planning all of the recording before I actually get in there. So by the time I actually get in the booth and close the door, then it's like, I've got a pretty good plan.
Yeah.
I know how I'm going to deliver the line, more or less. It becomes a question then of like making my actual voice do what I want it to do. And so like there's retakes in that and everything. But yeah. And then the edit is, the most work, and that's the arduous part. But I am really good about like, it can be hard for me to like just sit down and do the damn thing and get a whole script done at once. I'll do it. I never really like do part of a script and then leave it till another day. Like I'm pretty much just like I'm just going to sit here and like, I'll stall for time. And then when I do finally go like, okay, as soon as I start to make some ground on it, it's like, well, never mind. Now I just have to do it, because it's like, let's just get it done. I don't want to like lose ground on this.
Yeah. You don't we'll just keep the momentum, like, cause you don't want to like the avoidance of things. Like, it feels like a pole almost in your chest where you're like, and you go, is there any reason why I don't want to do this? And the real answer is always like, no.
It's usually no.
It's like, why are you so stressed about it? But don't worry, you'll think about it while you put it off.
Yeah. So I will say like that is the part that definitely like it takes the most to like really like get myself to fucking like just do it. Because then once the script is recorded, the second that script is done, I want to record it because I've been thinking about how I'm going to say the lines. I don't want to have to like remember later how I wanted to say it. And like once the script is done, it's like, I want this whole thing done.
Yeah.
It is a very rare day when I like put off recording. It's usually like script done, get up out of the seat and walk into the recording closet because I want this thing off my plate. And then as soon as it's done, unless it's like,
because then you're kind of linking those tasks too, to where like it's not like, oh, I have to do this then this. It's all right, I'm going to script and record.
Right.
Like it's one step in your head.
And then the edit, there are times where like if the recording just takes a really long time, or if I'm recording like multiple voices or something, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna and now it's like late at night or something. It took longer than I wanted to. Now it's like midnight and I'm finally done. I'm not gonna stay up and edit it. I'll edit it the next morning or something. But I usually will try to just do it all in one because I feel like it helps me keep the context of what I was doing. It helps me just like buckle down and just like finish the whole thing so that way like nothing gets like left out. Like I'm in the headspace of that script in the moment, and like that just helps me get it all done. So like I tend to do it, scripting, recording, editing all tends to happen together. Brainstorming happens whenever and all the time, and like well before it. Like I'll brainstorm a script a year before I finally get to write it and deliver on it. But like scripting, recording, editing, that kind of happens all together. Releasing is not cathartic. Releasing is very stressful. Now in the current environment, with YouTube being the way it is, I'm like panicked about everything all the time.
I'm sure because of the shit you've had to go through, but you also have gotten a pretty good system down. It doesn't make you feel more confident, but like
I'm still trying to find the new system is the problem. Is like a lot of it still kind of feels like it's the rug's pulled out from under you. Yeah, and it's kind of like is this audio too much? Is this going to get me yelled at? Is it not enough? Is like YouTube gonna be fine
figuring
with it,
out
but like
where your line is with YouTube of like, okay, like, because I'm also assuming like we're talking to like the Patreon previews in particular.
Yeah, which I basically don't even make anymore. But like anything where it's like it has some spicier stuff, it's like, is that too much? Did the kissing go on too long? So now the sound is sexually gratifying. Like, where's the line? And then so there's that fear there. And then on the ones where it doesn't have any of that,
let me give you a little noiseless kiss.
Yeah. And then on the ones where like it doesn't have that and I don't have to worry about that, it's like then the fear is the other side of it, of the response to it, of people being like, why isn't there any like kissing anymore? Why isn't there any of this anymore? Why isn't there any of that anymore? Which I get, because like people are here for different things. Not everyone wants to sit there and listen to, you know, like a lore exposition. I get it.
I mean, everyone's first video every time that they go to think, I gotta watch the newest redacted video, is like, I'll warm up with that Zeke audio.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure that's what they do. Like you gotta warm up with it so you remember some lore, and then you can hang out with Asher or Davey or whoever.
Yeah. But the most cathartic is probably the recording, or the brainstorming.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Ooh, Callisto's Orbit asked, everybody's always asking about love languages, but no one ever thinks about the 5 hate languages: physical violence, acts of disservice, bullying, stealing, bad time. What's your favorite?
What's your favorite?
Oh, Callisto, this is a good one.
This is a good one. But favorite in what regard? Favorite like to do?
We can have, you know what, your choice. You can pick multiple.
In the same way that I think we talk about love languages in terms of like what you want to give and what you want to receive.
Yes.
I think we should the same.
Because I think like hate languages. Well, because I'm like, okay, but like those could also be maybe. I've recently come to learn.
Started turning it. Yeah.
I am a tsundere, as I've come to realize. A tsundere.
You are?
Apparently, yes.
Oh. Okay.
Because I bully. But like, you know, first I give you the sun, then I give you the dairy. It was a whole thing.
Right.
You know, so, which is just like milk. But, you know, I'm like, I bully, but that's because I care. Like, I wouldn't bully, like, I don't want to like actually bully somebody.
Right.
Like, I want to bully where like it's tongue in cheek. It's more of just like, I'm just giving you shit because I'm just trying to razz you. But not because like my life at home is fucked up, so I'm going to take it out on you kind of bullying.
Right.
It's bullying that is an act of disservice, but has no physical violence and there's no stealing, and you may ideally don't have a bad time.
Right. What do I give out?
I don't like physical violence.
I don't like physical violence at all.
Don't really like bad times.
I don't steal.
I don't steal.
I don't steal, and I don't like inflicting a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
I have been known to bully.
We were bullies.
We were bullies.
We were bullies.
Yeah.
But I wasn't paid enough to not be.
Exactly.
And that's the real truth.
Exactly.
You didn't want me to be mean? You could have paid me more money.
Yeah. As far as receiving,
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite hate language to receive?
I love the phrase acts of disservice so
do I.
much. And I'm like, I like, no one wants a disservice.
Right. No one wants to be specifically inconvenienced on purpose.
Oh man, it's never good. Like, I guess bullying. It's bullying. Yeah.
I guess. Because, like, don't steal from me.
No.
It's not going to work.
I'm too fast.
It's not going to. You can try. You can't even try. It won't work.
First of all, if you think he's got anything in his pockets except lip balm, you're wrong.
I don't even have lip balm in my pockets. I put it all over my house. Rub it on the walls. And then I kiss the walls.
All of my mirrors have a veneer of lip balm so that I could...
Medicated chapstick.
Oh. Yeah. Those were... I think this is more of a meme question, but it's a good one.
It's a good time.
It's a good time. I'm here for it. Okay.
Hell yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's see if there's further questions.
Men out here eating only blue Sour Patch Kids.
Okay, I want to be clear. Men
Mm-hmm.
don't only eat the blue Sour Patch Kids. Men eat all the Sour Patch Kids except the orange ones, but they also will sometimes order, blue and red Sour Patch Kids on their own. And then in that case, they eat both the blue and the red ones because men like the red ones too.
Men. Red and blue. Red is a man color.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I have rekindled my love for hot pink.
Okay. Some say it never left.
I really didn't. Well, like I've been journaling every night. So every night before bed, starting on the 3rd, I think it was on the 4th, I have a little composition notebook, and I bought this pack of G2 Pilot pens that had a hot pink one because I was like, I want the hot pink one to write my little diary.
Yeah.
Where I just write some good things that happened today or anything I've had thoughts of, and it's been kind of nice because then I don't want to go back and read previous days, but I'm like, you should. There's wisdom in the past. And also more wellness, feeling better about yourself because you're putting stuff down and you can see some consistency stuff. And plus it'd be fun to look back on it. I'm becoming my mother who used to journal a lot.
And she invented journaling.
She did. She was John Journal.
Yeah.
Of the journal fame. But no, that same summer that I moved here and I was in Tucson, my grandparents actually got me a skateboard and I got to get it myself. And I had the hot pink skateboard with hot pink grip tape, hot pink wheels, hot pink bearings, hot pink trucks, hot pink screws. It was all hot pink.
Yeah.
And I fucking loved that skateboard.
Hell yeah.
It was great. It wasn't great. I could have bought better bearings. And now that I know a bit more how things work, as an adult and skateboards, okay, it's not that fast. Now I know I could Google it and I probably just should buy some new bearings because some of the pieces, maybe buy better wheels.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I remember I was given a little 16 crayon package that was the neon crayons and cracked that sucker open and I was looking at them and there was a neon hot pink. I was like, this color's fucking sick.
It's so good.
And I was like, I colored with it and everything. I was like, this color is so fucking sick. And I remember specifically around the same time, my sister got a new bike and she got my cousin's bike. And so then they were giving me her bike because they were all just vaguely mountain bikes in that kid mountain bike way where it's just, they're all kind of a bike.
They're just they all look off-brand.
They're all just an off-brand bike with knobbly tires where all the knobbly has now been worn off because it's this bike has been kicking around for a long time.
And also, to be clear, I don't know of an on-brand bike, but that's just it. It's the energy.
Yeah.
It's generic bike.
And so they
although I have a fixie.
So, but my parents' way of kind of like zhuzhing it up was like, okay, well, it's going to be your bike now. So like, we'll paint it. What color do you want your dad to paint the bike? And I was like, I literally like took the crayon and I said, I want this color. I want this hot pink. This is my favorite color.
And they said, oh no, we're going to have a conversation in 10 years.
Well, longer than that. And then I remember my mom was like, you want it that color? And I was like, yeah, I think this is my favorite color now. And she was like, and points for my mom, honestly, because she was like, that's cool that that's your favorite color. She's like, something to think about is that if you want us to paint the bike that color, we will paint that color. But I'm worried about
other kids,
the reactions that you are going to get to a bike that color. And like, my mom's looking at me and she knows I'm soft and that I'm ill-equipped and ill-prepared
to be told that your favorite color is shit
for what would have happened had I painted the bike that color,
which like is stupid and fucked up, to be clear, that you'd even have to have that. But again, that's in line with that, like, real, like, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Let's
of, like,
be real
you have
about
to deal
it.
with.
If I would have had
Here's
my
the
parents, if I would have had my parents paint that bike hot pink in the area I lived in, the part of town that I grew up in, I would have probably got my ass kicked. Like, that's just it. That's fucked up, but that's true. And so like, my mom was trying to like gently steer me to like, and she wasn't like, you can't like that color, that's a girl color. Like, that wasn't even in the conversation. It was just like, if that's your favorite color, cool, but like, maybe we get you something else that's that color. Like, maybe we don't paint your bike that color. Like, do you like any of the other colors? Like, any of the other neon colors? Like, what other colors do you like? And so it was a very like kind way of
like addressing it without like breaking the glass for you.
Right. And like, now in retrospect, I really appreciate the way that they were approaching that and everything. Like, that was nice. And so it ended up being painted, unfortunately, orange, which then
became your color.
You all know how orange, but you know. Yeah. So that was, but I remember I specifically had the crayon. I was like, this is my favorite color. And then like, I basically like then gave up on pink until literally years and years later, until senior year of college. I had this moment where I was like, I like pink and hot pink and baby pink.
I'm tired of talking. Like, I love it. Like, my pink. JoJo hoodie is pink and I fucking love it. It looks so cool. Like, the pink part of it does.
Like, and for a while I was like, well, I can't like baby pink because like that'll get you like made fun of. I was like, but hot pink, that can get like, you know, like that can be like punk. So like, I can get away with hot pink, which is not to say that liking hot pink is less than like baby pink. But I remember in my head trying to like have growth, but also frame it with my old mindset. I was like, okay, well, I can have hot pink. And so, yeah. So I remember then in senior year, I remember specifically I bought myself a hot pink shirt, and that was like
a big thing.
That was a watershed moment for myself, which is like, now in retrospect, like, oh, okay. But like, in the moment,
we'll have a conversation in a few years.
In the moment, it felt really good and it mattered, and I'm glad I did that step. And I did literally get made fun of, but I was like, I don't care.
And here's the deal, is that like, even that, like, compromise on your own thing, like, that was still a huge moment. Even still, like, and it's something as silly as like, you just bought a shirt you like who cares?
Yeah. Well, and there were steps, of course. There was getting up the courage to buy the shirt, and then getting up the courage to wear the shirt. There were different levels there. Like, I bought the shirt, and then like, we waited a while before then it was like, okay, I think I can wear the shirt. I'll wear the shirt on a half day.
Oh, to wear it to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, I can't get as much shit. It's a half day of school. It'll be okay.
You wear a jacket too.
Yeah. And just like slowly like working into it,
just unzipping a little bit,
a little bit more every time. Yeah,
every period.
Which is like, just, it's funny and ridiculous to think about now, but like, it felt so much in that moment, you know, because it was, but it was
Well, like else. One thing I'm personally excited for is like, so like when we were kids, like dads dress terribly. What the fuck, right? But now, especially now,
dress like dads.
Yes, but like in a stylish way, like. Well, I shouldn't say stylish, but there's this weird like dad aesthetic that is not the same.
Right.
Like, you don't look the same like our parents did, but like, because it's this like, oh yeah, It's so bad. It's the pillow that you bought.
Yes, it's a sarcastic love letter to that time of clothes.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, like it's terrible. I'm like, no, like, because I will admit sometimes I'm like, I fucking love my dad fits sometimes. Where I'm just like,
yes.
I'm like, oh, like this is gonna look terrible. Like, don't wear this. It's gonna embarrass me. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking wear the shit out of this.
Nah, lean in.
I get it now. I get it why parents are monsters, and it's because it's funny. Like that's it
For some of them.
Yeah. Well, in this very specific instance, Jinx. Wait.
Jinx.
But yeah, it's fun. Hot Pink's dope as fuck though.
Yes.
You can read it if you want.
Clay6679. Woo woo. New year. And Quentin. Odie, if you could make one video in Eric style for the Redacted channel that would be canon in the verse, what would you make?
Can I tell them?
I don't know what you're gonna say, so
My
I
demon.
don't know.
The demon that I've been wanting you to put in for years, or is it still shelved? Because it's a maybe. I won't.
Don't, just because then they're not gonna shut up about it.
All I'm gonna say is I came up with an idea for a character in Eric's universe as a joke on the way home one day, where there's only one of them, and I won't say its name because in case you ever want to use the name for something else,
right?
But it would be like the best way to describe it would be like Echo's roommate, in a sense, who is the other half of the duplex, sort of a thing, and like
right.
is a character that like is there but like is only there to cause problems, but not like close-knit or anything,
right?
But just like
acts of disservice.
The act of disservice demon is a much better name. It's not the name that we have is good.
Is good.
But that is that. Otherwise, like, I mean, I don't know, like, if I could make one video in Eric style that would be canon, I mean, it would have to be something that like it would be like a side story character, like probably like a one shot that like did have some like lore implications, but was like this, you know, this episode was like guest directed by me. So like if it's bad, if it's not as good, or sorry, if it's not at the same level of quality, then that's fine. But like could do a fun story or something in the universe. Like I've had like, not to toot my own horn, and I also like don't care that like we've never done any of these ideas because like they're just fun ideas. It's more fun to just bullshit them than to actually do them half the time. But like I tend to come up with, the last couple of years I have myself come up with a handful of ideas for like April Fool's Day videos, or like I could give you a much better video if it's non-canon. Like the department review is one that I personally am always like, because that's so much work for you. Like that's a legitimate like project to work on. But the idea of like people having to come in that are like on probation for shit, like Asher, you can't keep like rifling through trash cans. Like they found you in another dumpster in wolf form. You can't keep doing this. You got to lay off the Teppanyaki, you know, or whatever. And Eric, if you could stream one thing on Odie's Twitch that would remain on his channel, what would you stream?
Viva Pinata.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would never play. I don't like that game. But well, I should say I don't like playing that game.
Yeah.
I don't mind watching it. It's fine.
That's just the first thing that came to mind.
That's a vibe.
Because like we like a lot of the same games. So I'm like, I don't want to play one that like we would like either of us would normally play.
Yeah.
Like
It Takes Two.
No.
I mean, we did.
Yeah. Yeah. Just something just out of left field. Viva Pinata time, guys.
Yeah. Here we go. It's like, wait, what? Yeah.
Viva
Pinata. Dab.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We're not reading that one. I think
I believe
we might just be good. Yeah, because RB Jones is real close to always being first.
Yeah.
I did. Oh, Beanie Chesters had asked.
Beanie DeAndre.
What were you actually referencing when prompted by my name? And so I actually went and found it and found a timestamp because I'm like, it is Beanie DeAndre.
Beanie DeAndre.
It's Beanie Chesters. I love it. Hell yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. I believe. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Hype Unwrapped. Have we done questions since then?
This question came out after.
Got it. So we should do it.
Yeah. These two, we have not done.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I know.
I want you to click that when you have time.
Okay.
Bum, 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 bum.
Replay camera two.
We got blades on the ice.
Wow.
Wow.
Question: have you ever experienced culture shock in your own country? Example: while I'm not American, I grew up in Massachusetts, and American portion sizes still shock me.
Yeah, our the way that our tax dollars don't really go to infrastructure and help improve walkable, sustainable cities in the United States. That's a shock. Strodes.
Culture shock.
I mean,
yeah.
hard.
If you go to America is so big.
Oh yeah, well yeah. If you go to like other regions,
If you go to other regions of it,
like
it
the
does
South.
just feel so different in a lot of ways.
New
I remember
York.
it was a, I haven't traveled very much, but I remember it was a little bit of a culture shock when I went to visit Seattle for like, I don't know, like 3 days or something, because it's just very different. It like looks so different. It's just a
It's,
different
like, busier.
environment
It's
and
not-
everything.
And Phoenix in particular is a bit unique, only in that like it's so urban sprawl that like you want to go anywhere, like no, you're gonna drive 15-20 minutes, like that's normal. Like
Yeah.
Whereas like when I've gone to visit Chicago, it'll be crazy. It's like, I hope you're ready to walk. Like we walk
Yeah.
everywhere, but like you walk a lot, but it's not like you're trekking a lot. It's more of just like, well, yeah, we're gonna go to the store. It's around it's not worth driving.
Yeah, and it was weird because, like, I don't know, like in Arizona, you just drive everywhere. That's not to say that there aren't people who take public transit, of course, but like it is very, very normalized to just be like, oh yeah, you just drive everywhere. And then like because technically I wasn't visiting Seattle, I was visiting Gig Harbor, but then like we kept going to Seattle, and it was just like, oh yeah, you just like you hop on the ferry, and then like you end up over in Seattle, and then you're just walking around and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's weird. First of all, there's a boat involved. That's different because Arizona, the only landlocked state, we don't have that many boats.
Just the one, yeah.
And so like that was.
My stepdad has a boat.
I know my parents.
There's not many.
My parents have
There's
boats.
the only two.
Well, those are lake boats.
Oh, you're right.
This was the Sound. Puget. That was different. Being in like so much green, so much rain. Seattle as a city wasn't like it was,
Cities are cool. Like
yeah, I didn't really like it. But
well, I should say. Well, actually, I do think they're cool. So I don't know why I'm like being weirdly defensive. I'm calling myself out of my own
you could
thought
just
process.
say that you like them, and I don't.
Yeah,
and that's
I like
okay.
it. I do think that like it's cool to me in a sense also of just like it is different. Like the hustle and bustle, especially compared to like downtown Phoenix, is not really like a city in this in the same way as like New York or Chicago, or Tucson,
Oshkosh,
Green
Fond
Bay,
du Lac,
Appleton.
Yeah.
Man,
Okay, and then our
final question is by Tiny Sparrow. Tiny Sparrow asked, Quentin, if you came with a warning label, what would it be? Caution, contents may be hot.
Caution, contents maybe was wet. Yeah.
Were you going to say hot and then I said it first?
No, I was trying to decide if I was going to say wet, and then I was like, I didn't mean it in a sexual way, but I was like, but I was like, I mostly meant sweat, but you know what? It just sort of checks all the boxes.
Caution.
They may be.
Maybe wet when opened.
Maybe wet. Maybe sweaty.
Is it a good?
Sometimes it's sweat.
There's
Sometimes
there's wet in sweat.
Can't spell sweat
Hey.
without wet with also an A.
Hey, I got that sweat. Don't fret, he got that sweat. Slick and stick. Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Well,
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun.
Thanks so much for spending 2.5 hours with us on this fine day.
We'll probably just set this to go live at like 4,
Yeah.
just so
Like
that it gets
whenever
out
it's
today.
done.
Yeah. Or I guess you could just set it to just publish when it's done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is cool. I thought of a new idea.
Hot dog idea.
Hot dog idea, that is. What's up? and I will put them together. We're gonna talk about it after this, but hopefully next week I will have something new, and by saying it, people will mention it, and then I won't forget. But I don't think I will, because it's more of a planned impromptu exercise. Titties.
Titties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We can be done if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
We gotta think of something like nasty to end it with, though. Yeah. I thought of something nasty, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pink sock.
Ew.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't
like
want
that.
to. No, but like it is what came to mind. But I wasn't happy.
Prolapsed asshole.
Mm-hmm. He's a professional runner.
Goodbye.
Bye.